Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Night Owl, a show that we do twice a week where we talk about all the latest in pop culture news, TV and movie reviews, gaming news, and just the general conversations of the day. And for those who don't know me, I'm Price of Reason, and with me as always is my co-host Professor R2. How's it going, Professor?
Oh, it's going all right. Going all right. No issues here. Watching been spending some time watching some of the crazy protests and stuff still going on around the world. Although things seem to be a little bit quieter this evening, at least in most places. But also watching some of the news that goodness, with Israel popping off and attacking Iran this evening, or our evening, their morning over there. But yeah, all sorts of stuff going on.
Yeah, there's that was kind of surprise. I mean, I kind of knew it could happen, but I'm still a bit surprised. But listen, in spite of things that were said publicly, that Trump was saying, and their prime minister was saying, and all that stuff, I could tell that the second Trump was saying that he couldn't reach a deal that he wanted, it wasn't entirely out of the realm of possibility that this would be an outcome that we'd see.
Yeah. Israel has absolutely no desire to see a nuclear powered, that is, nuclear weapons, Iran, nuclear armed Iran, and so yeah, they're going to do what they have to do to prevent that in whatever way they can, and that for a long time has been their, you know, uh, that's kind of been their red line. Like they're not going to let Iran have nuclear weapons, and so yeah, we saw what appears to be a fairly precision targeted attack going on. This evening, hitting a number of different areas, knocking out some of their not just nuclear sites, but hitting a few of their command and control, the leadership of their military as well. So we will see in the next few hours what kind of response that Iran might have for Israel, at least an immediate response. But yeah, seems like a so far pretty successful, pretty precision attack. I know a lot of people are saying, "Oh, they're trying to start World War III." I don't think that's the case. I think people greatly overestimate what Iran is actually capable of
I mean,
militarily.
listen, I never underestimate anybody, but I will say this that and this is again my opinion here, but I think it's more than an opinion. Iran have been from behind the scenes involved in a lot of annoying things, supporting a lot of these kind of terror organizations for many years and doing it all kind of from behind the scenes. It's very, very annoying. And in addition, uh, they seem to refuse. I mean, part of the terms, even with what the deal that Trump was trying to do with them, was that they wouldn't have this nuclear thing, and all they want is this nuclear thing. And
Yeah.
they don't have the greatest track record. I mean, I know that it's a bigger maybe threat for Israel, who's closer to them, but in general, I don't think that anybody should be encouraging them to have this. And I suspect that there's even some, this is again my speculation. I suspect that there's also some Arab countries in that area, those kind of Saudi Arabia, Emirates, and all those things. You think that they want Iran to have nuclear capabilities? I'm not sure they do.
The people on a certain side of religious conflicts definitely want Iran to have those weapons. A lot of other states, perhaps like Russia, China. I'm not sure. I'm not sure what their position would really be, but I know that that's the position of the U.S., the position of Israel, the position of a lot of other states is that they do not want a nuclear armed Iran.
It's not that I'm saying that like the Saudi Arabia is great or anything. I'm just saying
Yeah,
that I wonder if they really want them to have it.
the
That's just
Saudis absolutely do not.
that's what I'm thinking. So it's like I feel like I guess what I'm trying to say here is that I know that the narrative we're seeing unfold is that yes, Israel are doing this, but I feel like they can't just operate in a vacuum. They still, in order to carry out something like this, I would suspect that they're not the only ones that would know about it in advance, and you understand what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, yeah. Uh, oh,
But
just
I mean,
just totally forgot what I was going to say.
But in general, I mean, it's really just early to say. I also don't know if Iran is going to respond this second. It could also take it a few days to respond. It could take a few weeks. It could take a month. I don't know. I mean, last time that there was something going on, it took them about 30 days to respond. So I don't really know how that's all going to play out, and we have yet to see what this round of attacks, uh, how precise or what the result of these attacks are going to be and how it all plays out.
Yeah, yeah. I will say for those who don't know, there's several different uh, uh, different religious sects among the or among the Muslim population. There's primarily there's the Shia and the Sunnis, um, and Saudi Arabia is almost entirely Sunni, and Iran is almost entirely Shia. So yeah, uh, the Saudis do not want Iran to have nuclear arms. So,
Right. So I guess what I'm saying, like sometimes when I go through Twitter, I see people responding with a lot of sort of emotions of, oh, they did this and these people did that and he did this and now they did that and then and sometimes some of these responses to me seem rather simplistic because I honestly think that uh, you know as much as Israel had its own goals and what it wanted, it didn't want, and its own safety, you could tell that they don't just get up one day and just at the drop of a dime, is that a term? I don't know how to explain it. They don't just get up and say, "Okay, now we'll do it." This has been something that's been discussed now probably for years. You know what I'm saying? Like there's been discussions about this for years. Uh, I guess that's what I'm trying to
I
say.
think the phrase is drop of a hat. Yeah, yeah, drop of a hat. Yep. Yeah,
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 and then, drop of a hat, that's what I wanted to say, yeah.
yeah,
What did
yeah.
I say? The drop of a dime? I don't know why that came out.
You
I
can
meant the
drop
drop of
you
a
can
hat.
drop a dime. That means to snitch on somebody.
Oh, sorry.
Drop of a hat is from
I
Jersey.
apologize. It's
That's
a
how
late hour. I knew it was
yeah,
the drop of a hat.
yeah,
My wires got crossed.
yeah, that's fine. Yeah. Mixing metaphors, fun.
Anyhow, so yeah, we'll have to see what happens with that. I mean, there were some, footage you saw. They were showing some footage online,
Yeah, some
I
building
guess.
fire, multiple reports coming out of, some military officials within, Iran that had been eliminated. So, yeah, we'll see, we'll see what kind of response we get, but, we already have a super chat over on YouTube from the dead.
Okay. The dead man is awesome. Thank you, the dead man. I don't know what to say to that, but let's see what it is. I will try to highlight it here. So, okay, this is a great this is a great super chat. So, can you see it? Oh, I didn't share it.
Yeah, yeah,
Presentation.
there you go.
Okay, the dead man. If you have a problem and no one else can help, and if you can find them, maybe you can hire the A team.
Dun, 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 dun,
Do do do
dun,
do do do
dun.
do 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 do. Sorry. It's best when they play it, like, with a
Yeah,
guitar or whatever they do, but yeah, it's good. Love that show, love that show.
great, and it had a fantastic theme, great opening.
One
E
of the all-time
even,
greatest themes.
a great reference to Starbuck, uh, to the actor who played Starbuck on Battlestar Galactica with the Cylon walking through in the opening. You even get the little whoop whoop, sound. It's perfect. It's great.
And by the way, I think that at some point, I don't know, this was already years ago, I did a little bit of a rewatch for the A-Team, and I think that in the original episode, in, like, in the earlier episodes, I think that people may have died, and then they suddenly changed it. Is that possible? I think that it
Oh,
wasn't immediate that you always saw that, like, a car explodes and people get out before, even the bad guys.
well, I mean, I suppose it's possible. I would have to go back and rewatch some. Yeah.
I feel like initially they were more okay with some people dying. Well, I could be wrong, but very quickly they went into that thing where, they're always getting the bad guys always get out of the car before it blows up, which is kind of strange because they're these badass like militants, but they never nobody ever gets hit. Like they capture all the bad guys, but there's like nobody gets hit.
I'm gonna ask AI. Did bad guys ever get killed in the A Team TV show?
Do it. And
Uh,
then Marla
no
Sharon does.
no bad guys were not killed in the original A Team TV show. Uh, from 83 to 87, famous for action-packed sequences. Despite the heavy use of firearms and elaborate stunts, the show was designed with a lighthearted comedic tone, and it became a hallmark, regardless of the chaos, that no one ever seemed to die. Even in episodes with significant explosions or shootouts, the aftermath would usually show villains crawling out of wrecked vehicles and dusting themselves off unharmed.
That's the way it was. I mean, I understand. I think that what happened is they knew that kids were watching that show and they were trying to make it like more palatable for kids. But at the same time, I was okay if they wanted to kill a few of those bad guys. It wouldn't have bothered me, but I understand. Marlo Sharondoff says, I met Mr. T when he was working on the show TNT. I've never met Mr. T, but I always really liked him when I was a kid. And yeah, I watched TNT, but for me, his best work would be A Team and Rocky 3. As B.A. Baracus on the A Team, he was great, and as
Yeah,
Clubber Lang in Rocky 3, fantastic.
yes, yeah. A pity the fool.
I mean, it's so iconic. It's
I
so
would
iconic. It got the job done. Like when you watch Rocky, you were scared when you saw Mr. T. And what's interesting is later on the A Team, you liked him, even though
It
in
was,
Rocky,
he was a tough dude. Yeah. But I would love to meet Mr. T. I
I'd
think
be very happy.
uh
You're right. I would be
poor
happy,
guy.
but
Did you ever see there were several times that he was on Conan O'Brien show?
remind me.
He would come on Conan O'Brien's show all the time. I think he was on there 5 or 6 times, and there's one time they went picking apples. It was just the most ridiculous thing. They just went out to an orchard and were picking apples together for a bit, and it was so funny.
I've never seen it, but it sounds good. It sounds good.
Oh,
I really liked him. I don't know. Mr. T was very popular with kids in the '80s, and I thought he was great. And he seemed like a nice guy. Also liked him. I remember he was like a guest on Different Strokes, and I really liked that as well. Yeah, I mean,
and then
he
if you
really.
have you ever heard him laugh?
Yes, I think I have. The thing is that most of what Mr. T did was, I think it's really his energy and his persona and his like kind of charisma and charm. I don't think anybody claims he's like the best actor or the best whatever, but he was just such a kind of presence, and it's hard not to like the guy. And yeah, I'd totally be happy if I ran into him now. I'd be really happy. So
Here.
Uh,
Oh,
big
I shared something, but you'll have to close your
uh,
window. It's
bigot
fine.
on socialist media. People forget the missiles Russia gave to Iran a few months ago. I I
Yeah.
don't know if I forgot, but I don't know what to say exactly. Did you see the episode Junkyard Blues from TNT? I haven't watched it's not a show that, like, I watched a lot of episodes of. It's a show that I've watched some episodes of. I don't really remember I remember there was also a cartoon with Mr. T, and that I remember watching. TNT was something that I think I caught here and there. So, Junkyard Blues, it's not enough for me to remember if I saw it or not. But, yeah, I don't know why. I'm trying to think why I didn't see more of TNT, but I guess I didn't. The cartoon, the did you see the Mr. T cartoon?
Yeah, yeah. I remember
I
seeing that.
watched that as a kid.
Yeah, yeah.
Anyhow, Mr. T was also WWF back in the day. I remember WWF. That was probably the last time I watched wrestling when it was called WWF. The second that they said it was like
Yeah.
WWE, I think I was pretty much out at that point. No, maybe there was some stuff. I don't. I think the last time actually, I'm going to really date myself here, but I think stuff like the Undertaker, things like that. I feel like I haven't been in the game when it comes to wrestling in many years. Uh, it was interesting for whatever it was, but it wasn't. It never really captured me in a way that I felt so like a diehard wrestling fan. I can appreciate it for whatever it is. I'm just not like I'm not diehard. But it's okay if people are. I know it's something very popular and people really like it. I think back in the day you had people like Hulk Hogan, you had The Undertaker. These were kind of times that I seemed to find myself enjoying it more. I don't know about you.
Oh, no, yeah, but in the '80s, I was never super into wrestling. I could enjoy it for what it was. I always said it was just, it's basically a soap opera for dudes.
Right, right.
It's,
It's entertaining. It's
pretty
entertaining if you get
ridiculous.
into it.
Yeah.
There, I don't like knock. I'm not knocking anybody that likes it. And as a kid,
No,
as a
no.
kid, it was like intriguing, but at the same time, it didn't carry over with me. More into adulthood. I don't really watch it today. I'm not really invested. Then again, a lot of things have changed. I for many years I sat around and watched like NBA, especially when it came to playoffs and finals in the past number of years, probably at least like 5 or more years, maybe 5, 6, 7 years. I feel like I barely even sometimes by accident, maybe I'll catch like a playoff game or something. This year I don't even know if I watched almost anything at all. There's like finals now. I didn't watch it. I don't really care. I don't know why. I guess I only have a certain amount of hours in the day, and sitting around for hours and watching a game, even if it's a sport that I don't necessarily dislike, it's just something that I can't dedicate time to now. If that makes sense.
Oh, no, it's something that you I mean, you really have to if you're gonna be into it, you gotta follow it like it was a sport, right? I mean, but or exactly like, like women do with their stories, right? With it was, like I said, I did enjoy it as a kid, eh, as entertainment. A it's not something to be taken seriously. It's entertainment, and I enjoyed the wild personalities that we had back in the '80s and even a little bit into the early '90s, with some of the real the great wrestlers that really made it popular at the time, like the Hulk Hogan's and Hacksaw Jim Duggan and some of the the all of just the wild personalities that we had at the time were just great. Yeah.
It was certainly very entertaining, and I think that it had sort of a charm to it back in the '80s.
Yeah, and then they had a kids cartoon. You remember the kids cartoon
I vaguely remember something. Yeah.
with all the WWF wrestlers running around, not one of them being voiced by the original.
Right. They that a lot of times that happened with animated. I mean, that already like traces back to even the Beatles. The strangest
Oh
thing
yeah,
with about the Beatles' Yellow Submarine is that it seemed totally normal that they would have just brought the Beatles to do the voices of those four characters that are themselves, and they brought like four impersonators to pretend they're the Beatles. And to this day, I think it's so strange because they actually then the real Beatles sing the songs because it's like their music. It's like, couldn't they just bring them to do the voices?
yeah, yeah. You wonder why they why they wouldn't have these entertainers on there doing their actual voice.
Yellow Submarine never made sense to me. I think that the real Beatles could have totally pulled it off because later, I mean, or before, whenever it is, we saw like Hard Day's Night. The Beatles were not shy when it came to being being recorded with a microphone or with a camera or whatever. And the animated thing, all they needed was their voices talking. They could have totally pulled it off. I don't know if I remember maybe Ringo was disappointed that they didn't do the voices. I don't remember now. I think that maybe then they had a cartoon in addition to the Yellow Submarine. Now this is all kind of I don't know if it's the Mandela effect, but I think that there was like an animated show, The Beatles, and it was also
Yes.
impersonators.
Yeah. Yeah, there
I
was no
think that Ringo was kind of insulted that they always made him like the stupid one. That was the thing to do with the
yeah, he was always the
cartoons.
goofy sort of yeah, he was
He
always the
he
goofy sidekick.
I actually don't think he's stupid in real life, so I
No,
don't
I
really
don't think he
know.
is either.
I don't know why they did that to him, but I guess at the end he accepted it. But yeah,
Yeah.
I don't think that like Ringo was dumb or anything like
Well,
that.
3 of them did at least get to voice themselves on The Simpsons eventually, so
That is true. Yeah, I guess that happened. I remember once there was one with like Marge sending like Ringo a
yeah,
painting or something, and years later he like answered her or
yeah,
something.
Ringo was so dedicated that he wanted to answer every single piece of fan mail he ever got, and so he was working his way through fan mail that he received in the 1970s, and he got the painting that Marge had sent him when she was, like, 14 or something.
I love that. That was great.
Oh, it was
And
hilarious, yes, it was hilarious.
Yida says, "I
Thank
miss those
thank
old
you
Beatles
for
cartoons."
the groovy painting.
I'm going to say something, and you know what I thought of this week, and then we can look at your clip. I thought of it this week, and I felt bad that I was thinking it. Uh, most of the Beatles aren't with us today. Like, especially I think of people like John, and especially John, but also maybe George. No, I mean Ringo and Paul are still with us, but I'm saying like John and George to me, I feel like today would probably be a lot more vocal about social stuff and politics, especially
Oh, really?
John. And probably, I don't know why my instinct tells me that he'd probably annoy me. Like, I'm not saying like I am sad that he's not with us because he's a great musician, but I'm just saying like I feel like John Lennon not being alive in the time of the internet and all this kind of social bullshit. I suspect that if he was around, maybe he'd like go lean into that heavily, maybe because of like his wife and all that. And I'm not happy that he's not with us, but I am happy that I didn't get to see him be all kind of annoying, if that makes sense.
Mhm.
I don't know if that's a terrible thing of me to think, but I feel like he wouldn't have just been sitting on the sidelines, you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. I think you're definitely right about that.
I mean, not to this is really I shouldn't be saying any of this, but you know, when he was here, he kind of annoyed some authorities and stuff because basically he came here and I guess he didn't have we talk about like illegal things like that. He didn't have like legal status here initially. I don't remember what it was. And he came here and initially I think like Nixon was really, really interested in having him leave. He didn't like him here. Yoko really kind of lobbied him to get him more involved in like local politics. He was like performing outside like the Republican National Convention and trying to like do already stuff. I don't know, stuff that was important to him, like push causes and things like that. And I think that some people within the government didn't love that. and their way of handling it was they kind of almost tried to find a way to deport him, but he was John Lennon, and he got really fancy, expensive lawyers, and I guess at the end they didn't deport him. But yeah, I mean, I'm not saying that Nixon was a great guy or anything, but I can sort of understand where a guy comes here and is not necessarily a citizen and starts causing, like, trying to cause different like waves within politics here, where it would possibly annoy some authorities, if you know what I mean.
Mhm. Yeah.
I don't know how we got
Oh.
there. Let's watch Mr. T
No,
for
no,
Capitals
yeah.
with Conan. Sorry, guys. I don't know how I got to John Lennon annoying Nixon, but that's where we are.
All right, dead B. T1, B0. All right, now that one right there don't get.
This one right here?
Hey, look at this here. That's another bad one, man.
Stop yelling at me.
Come on down, Cole.
Now I'm gonna come down now that you're getting mad again. I don't think so.
No,
I think I'm
because you've
staying.
been up there too long. I'm tired of waiting.
Well, I'm gonna stay up here until you're not mad anymore.
I'm tired of
You're getting mad.
I'm tired of waiting. Come on down now, fool.
See, you're getting mad.
I come up there after you now.
You're getting mad
No,
again.
Don't make me mad. I said come on down.
Stop yelling at me.
Come down now.
No, you got me out. How you gonna get? Hey, knock it off.
I said come down.
Quit it. Come on. Stop getting mad.
Oh, man. I remember one episode on the 18. We thought Hannibal had a good plan. Oh, man. We was at the beach and stuff like that. We were trying to make a submarine. I was scared of planes. I was scared of planes. Didn't like planes, man. Especially that crazy fool Murdoch be flying, That was the key. That was the key. That's why everybody liked the show, because we never killed nobody. Dun, 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 bang! B.A. Baracus. Bang! Howling Mad Murdoch. Dun, 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 dun. Had to fight 4 guys.
There's a bit here. Oh, they go on a hayride. Hold on. This is
Pity the fool that messed with tea. Well, you better not mock his strange mohawk. I pity the fool that messed with tea. Everybody! Well, I pity the fool.
I pity him too.
Well, I pity the fool.
I pity him too.
I pity the fool that messed with tea.
All right. Hey,
Well, I pity the fool.
Oh, yeah.
I pity the fool.
Oh, yeah.
I pity the fool that messed with tea.
All right.
This is the instrumental part.
Man, I'm tough, man. I eat trees. I said, keep playing the song.
If you're not cool.
yeah, I'm tough.
It's nice. I've never seen this before.
It's a classic. Yeah, Conan has the whole bit on his channel.
But I
YouTube.
did start an interesting conversation because the dead man says, "I think John would be better than you think," and then somebody else says, he would be insufferable today 100%. Here's what I think happened, and I'll tell you why I think John Lennon in today's world would kind of be annoying. I hate to say it because I love John Lennon, as a musician, and I liked even as a personality and all that kind of stuff. But I'm saying that all the people that in the 60s were like sort of against the system, that they were like against the grain, they're like standing up and they're doing all that stuff. All those people today are the exact opposite. You know what I'm saying? Like all those people have sort of they've been a part of that they've become the system, if that makes any sense.
Yeah. They've kind of they are the man now, right? They used to fight the man, and now they are the man.
Right. It really feels like that when it comes to people that are sort of supposedly like far left or whatever. Instead of being kind of against the system, they're the most like supporters of the system ever. And ironically, actually, the more right side that was more considered the system is actually more against the system, which is very strange, but things certainly have shifted. And give peace a chance. I don't mind the give peace a chance. It wasn't a bad message, but I don't know. Today, things aren't the same as they were then. I guess we could just leave it at that. R.I.P. Brian Wilson. Yes, Brian Wilson was an absolute genius. We talk about like Americans and people that are influential American musicians. Brian Wilson was an absolute genius, and he influenced so many things. The ripple effect of his influence could be felt until this very day. Even things that we think about the Beatles, like Sgt. Pepper, you wouldn't have had Sgt. Pepper if it wasn't for Brian Wilson and Pet Sounds. Basically, the reason why the Beatles would be sitting around listening to what Brian Wilson put together for the Beach Boys, because he was the musical mastermind behind and pretty much the producer putting together their music. They would listen to his albums with great interest, and then they're like, okay, we got to top that. We got to do something better than this now. And to be the guy that makes albums that the Beatles are like closely listening so they can think of how they can beat you is a really great position to be in. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. I mean, it is, I am not a musical historian quite like you are, Price, but I do know Brian Wilson, and I know I have seen actually, I saw some kind of retrospective about him, not recently, some time ago. It was talking about how he was like this huge inspiration for dozens of some of the world's like most well known, well respected artists because of his pioneering the way that he used the studio, like the way that he mixed audio, like treating that like an instrument in and of itself, and how he created their California sound that was part of uh what they made, and just like, yeah, just his incredible just musical talent and genius for what he created. So yeah, it's a real loss.
And it was also like natural genius, meaning sometimes you have people that what they did was is that they worked really hard in their life. They studied a lot of instruments, they studied theory, and then they understand a lot because they studied it. Brian Wilson, like he was born with that. Meaning,
Mhm,
just to give you an example, there was something called the Wrecking Crew, which was like the top musicians in the industry.
mhm.
And we're talking about like the best professionals. There's a lot of albums back in the 60s especially that this Wrecking Crew are playing on those albums. Many times you don't even know it, because today when you make music you have computers, right? You know what I'm saying? You have software.
Yeah, of course.
If you and I sat with software now, we want to record a track, we can open as many tracks as we want, like isolated instruments. We can also play an instrument, then we can go in, we can fix it, we can do corrections. Today with like AI and all this other stuff, we don't even have to personally do the corrections. We press a few buttons and it corrects it. That's the place we're at. But during those days, you didn't have that luxury, and you didn't even have computers working like that with the audio. You had these kind of tapes with those reels, and sometimes those reels you can only record 8 things on them, meaning like 8 tracks, later
Yeah,
maybe
yeah.
16. Early on the Beatles, I think you only had 4, and then they do all these kind of games to like put 4 with another 4 and with another 4. But I won't get into all of that. But I guess what I'm saying is in those days a lot of times a producer would bring in the Wrecking Crew because ex- uh, uh, recording an album, especially then, was very expensive. And if you don't have the biggest professionals, you can't get that album done in a good pace. So what happened was is that Brian Wilson was such a genius that he would produce like the Beach Boys songs. He was the one writing the music. He rounded up all these like top musicians, and he'd just be standing in the room explaining to each instrument, each person what to do. And this is a guy that, if as far as I know, nobody taught him anything. Do you get what I'm saying? And I think that he was maybe even deaf in one ear. He knew exactly what every instrument, what they were doing, what the notes, even though I don't even know if he knew notes. Do you get what I'm saying? That is a level, that's the kind of thing where you're really a genius. And then, of course, like what you said, when it comes to his audio and how he recorded tracks, he was heavily influenced by Phil Spector that made what's called the Wall of Sound. Now,
Yes.
I know Phil Spector these days, people remember him more for the guy that, unfortunately, there was that incident where some lady died and he was held responsible. Uh, I to this day am not sure that he did that on purpose. First of all, I wasn't there and I don't know exactly what happened, but I will say that I suspect, and this is just me speculating, since he didn't have a history that he just stood around and like shot ladies. I tend to think that this was a situation where he was with a lady. They probably did a lot of recreational stuff and drank a lot. And when you're in a situation like that, there probably shouldn't be a gun in the room with people playing with it. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's my theory. I understand how it all. Even if that's the case, it doesn't let him off the hook for what happened there. If that is indeed what happened, but I'm just saying that I tend to think that it wasn't a malicious thing as much as that there was some kind of strange misadventure there. But that's just my personal opinion. He was certainly eccentric, and I think that he drove people crazy, and he's a complete weirdo. But brilliant, brilliant producer. And Brian Wilson, what he did was he kind of listened and studied what Phil Spector was doing, and then he's like, okay, I got that. Now I'm going to do it. And that's another thing. Again, nobody taught him this. He became like a musician that can work with the best musicians. He became a guy that can produce albums better than the top guy that produces albums. And this is basically without anybody teaching him anything. Now, Brian Wilson himself then kind of went off the deep end, had a lot of personal issues and a lot of things going on, but I don't think anybody can take away from the fact that he was a real genius, and his influence in music on a lot of genres all over the world, on so many artists that we listen to until this day. It's serious influence. It's not like just some nonsense. And the final thing I'll say is that we always, we talk about musicians. We think about the Beatles. They were English. They were from England. As far as American musicians, especially if you're thinking like the '60s, Brian Wilson is one of the best that we had during that era for sure. And I'd say like one of the all-time great American musician, producers, songwriter, whatever you want to say. So certainly a big loss with Brian Wilson out of the picture.
Absolutely. Yep.
How did we get to? Oh, because he died.
Yep. Yes, because he passed away. Yep.
He passed away.
So we do have another super chat from the dead man.
The dead man is very kind with his super chat.
Yes, I appreciate
Let
it.
me find it. Let me find this thing. I'll be with you in a second. Okay. And now I'm going to share the screen. Let's see what the dead man has in store for us. All we are saying is give peace a chance. I mean, it's a positive message, but it's easier said than done, I guess. It's so funny.
Yeah.
That song was, I think that they recorded that song like in a hotel room or something. They're basically all just sitting. I don't know if maybe they did an additional recording, but it started because I guess in order to stop the Vietnam War or whatever they were against, John and Yoko locked themselves up in a hotel room and then invited the press there. It seems like today you're just like, whatever. But back in the day when they did that, that was like unheard of. I think that John's heart was in the right place. Not wanting wars isn't necessarily a bad thing. And I think that during those days when you're like, oh, war is bad, it was a little more innocent. And I think also the Vietnam War was a war that just wasn't well received by a lot of people, also especially in America. So I think that maybe for that time, for their day, maybe his message was one that was overall a positive one. But as I was saying earlier, that in our day today, the conversations are so different, and it's all very, very different, that I don't know how somebody like him. It is curious. It's really, really curious. It's almost like a Quantum Leap episode. I wonder what would happen if he didn't die. What would he think of our world today? But I guess we'll never know.
Never know. Never know.
And another thing, Give Peace a Chance is a strange song, because on the one hand, this is very much a John Lennon song. This is not like a Lennon-McCartney song. This is very much a John Lennon song. And if you look at the songwriting, like the publishing for it, for some reason, I think that it's listed maybe under John and Paul. Maybe they did it during a time where that agreement between them still existed. Maybe I'm wrong. I thought once that I saw that it was both of their names listed. I could be wrong though. That's what I vaguely thought. No, I'm not gonna bet everything. I'm not going all in on it, but for some reason, I always thought that they were both credited for it, and I'm not 100% sure why. I guess we could check that. What happens? What's the songwriting credits? Give Peace a Chance song. Let's see. Okay. Can you see this?
Yep.
Give Peace a Chance is an anti-war song written by John Lennon, originally credited to Lennon-McCartney.
Mm-hmm.
Are you not impressed, Professor?
I am impressed. Yes. Official
You could
songwriting credits go to John Lennon and Paul McCartney.
you couldn't care less. I didn't
Although
really
John
impress you.
Lennon was the sole writer of the song, it was originally
Yes,
credited to the partnership of Lennon and McCartney,
that's what I'm
as
saying.
was customary for Beatles-related works of the time.
That's what I'm saying. And then I think that for years it haunted Paul McCartney that like he didn't have a song about peace. And I really feel like he was trying. He didn't like that he didn't have like an Imagine song, or he didn't have peace. And I think that that's why in the 80s he made a few like attempts at this. You had something like Play the Pipes of Peace. There was a song that like Paul McCartney wants to spread peace in the world, and the whole album that he released was called like Play the Pipes of Peace. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I don't think I've ever heard this.
Play the pipes of peace. Something like that. Come on, play the pipes
Okay.
of peace. There was some
Yeah, I do not remember it.
There was the pipes of peace. I'm gonna check that now. Pipes. I don't know. I don't know why pipes of peace sounds dumb to me, but that's what it is. Let me see for a second. People are probably thinking, "What's wrong with Price? And why is he looking at Pipes of Peace?" Here, Pipes of Peace is the fourth studio album by English singer-songwriter Paul McCartney, as the follow-up to the popular Tug of War. Tug of War was another one that it really annoyed him that John Lennon like he first of all was the anti-war peace guy, and he gave him like Imagine and things, and would give Peace a chance, and people were always associating that with Lennon. And also, don't forget that Lennon passed away. I mean, he was assassinated, but I mean, he basically wasn't there anymore. So the whole legend of John being this like larger than life peace loving person, I think that it kind of overshadowed Paul, and I feel like Paul wanted to show that he too believes in this. And then you had Pipes of Peace, and there's a song here. See the song.
Yep, I've got it right here on the other window. We don't want to
There
play
is
too much of it because they will bust us for
right.
for a Paul McCartney song.
It
But
starts
yeah,
like something.
there's a video. There's a video.
Okay, let's do it. Let's do it. Show me what
Yeah.
you got. It's in a higher register that I can, but
Yeah.
I got the general idea.
Yeah.
Hey, the pipes of peace. In any case, the dead man says Lennon was the man, and then Deeple 101 says Band on the Run was his best solo work. I'll tell you this. Band on the Run is all right. He's obviously a good musician. You'll never hear something and say, "Oh, Paul McCartney is a terrible musician." You won't hear him do something that'll sound like a disaster. But I do feel like after the Beatles, you really saw that when he's not surrounded like by the very cooler than him, John Lennon and George Harrison, you could tell that he's really, without them, he tends to surrender to his more poppy, clean cut, jingly vibe, if that makes sense. It's still quality, but it's very, very poppy and a bit cheesy. See, my theory is the way the Beatles worked, and this was probably the best thing about the Beatles is if you had a song, you had to play it for the others. And I think that when Paul McCartney brought a song, and if it was too cheesy, and he raised his head and looked at like George and John, he could just they knew him from childhood, from like when they were teens and stuff. They spent a lot of hours together. He looked at their faces. If they make sour faces, he knows that this thing is cheesy and annoying. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
sometimes, and I've actually been in bands, and I can tell you that. I would bring out maybe like there would be like a piano or something, and I play something, and I look around and I feel in the room that people are like, that's kind of lame. They don't even have to say it to me. I can see it on their faces. You know what I mean? And immediately you're like, I don't want to be the lame one. You know what I mean? Like, well, what if we do this? Oh, and then you suddenly see the faces change. You're like, oh, that's a cool idea. That's cool. Why don't we do that? And I feel like the second that he didn't have George and John, who were very, very cool guys, I think that you could tell that there was a bit of an issue there. And it's no coincidence that actually later, when he did a song with Michael Jackson, it actually came out a lot cooler than a lot of his other songs, because suddenly there's this kind of 1-2 punch. It's a little different than him just doing his usual shtick, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And even Ebony and Ivory, which again, that's another one of those that after he saw John Lennon do this stuff, I think he wanted to be more quote unquote preachy. Ebony and Ivory is kind of a silly, preachy song, but you know what? Stevie Wonder is so brilliant, and the collaboration of Stevie and Paul, such great musicians working together, and that's again a situation where Paul doesn't give in to his overly cheesy tendencies, even with a song that could have easily been cheesy. Maybe because of the presence of Stevie Wonder, even Ebony and Ivory is not a terrible song. I admit, like I don't know if it's a guilty pleasure or what you want to say. I kind of like that song, and I like Say with Michael Jackson.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Even in the Dead Man Says, even the Beatles, John was just better. I'll give Paul for Hey Jude. I think that it's very simplistic to say John was better. I think that they were all. The people say this about the Beatles. They were bigger than the sum of their parts. Basically, the collaboration between those four was great, and prior to them succeeding, they logged in so many hours performing together, so many hours because they were actually in Germany as teenagers. They played in like a place where it was like shady people, like a shady bar with shady people. You know that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they would have to do like hours of music, then they'd get a break, and then they have to go back and play for hours. They were like the house band at like
Yeah.
the sleaziest place in town, and
Oh
they
yeah.
were there for like several hours every day, and imagine for years, like several hours again and again and again. And when you're not on stage, you're in your room with a guitar, you're writing songs. All the early stuff was really a collaboration between John and Paul, so a lot of the stuff that you're seeing, when they cooperated like that, you got a lot of gems. And later, I wouldn't say that John is better than Paul. I would say that within the Beatles, Paul was probably the best, on paper, the best musician. When John had an idea and he's like, hey, I have a good idea, the first thing he does, even if he wrote the song, he'd go to Paul and he'd sit down and say, this is my song. And Paul would have some notes. And trust me when I tell you that those notes were taken very seriously, even if they annoyed each other at times, even later when they were growing apart and all that stuff. When they're in the studio and Paul has some comments, John is listening to them and vice versa. So, and George and Ringo also, they were, it was just, like I said, it was a very awesome collaboration of people that logged in a lot of hours working together. And it's the type of uh, camaraderie in a band that we don't even see today, because today, like I was saying before, and this will bring it all full circle, all you have is these kind of softwares and AI and all this bullshit. Sorry, Sean. And I mean, I also have used stuff like that before, where like I use software and I use things, but I will say that it's there's a reason why people today are less musically talented than they were, most of them.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I know what you mean.
So yeah, it's like I remember now that like Benny Blanco guy that he like you remember I showed you that Benny Blanco guy.
Yes.
Every time I go to YouTube, somebody like clips like on YouTube Shorts like Benny Blanco, who is quote unquote like a top producer of like modern music. They clip him talking, and I never understand why they've clipped him. Like it annoys me that they clipped him. I mean, I'm not trying to be like salty or anything, but I'm just saying that yeah, I don't get it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyhow, where were we? How did we get to all of this?
Oh, some super chats and Mr. T and the A team, and it all just kind of yeah. we wandered way off course, and then we started talking about music because we started talking about Brian Wilson from super chat, or from the chat and whatever. So
Well,
yeah,
you know what?
we can fall back onto some of our other subjects. Let's see, Trump and Musk.
Right. Yeah,
Trump and
it
Musk.
seemed like they're starting to sort of
Yeah,
bury the hatchet.
things. Yeah, maybe things are easing up just a little bit. Perhaps maybe they realized. Elon Musk has said, he says, I regret some of my posts about President Donald Trump last week. They went too far. That was one of the posts that he made. And so, perhaps somebody is trying to, trying to rebuild some bridges, right? Admit that possibly You know, he was a little too aggressive with some of the things that he said. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't really I'm really surprised. Listen, I know that Elon Musk can sometimes get very much you know, he's very much in his own world and he just does whatever he does. And I can see how he gets very fired up about something. I do really think that that one with Jeffrey's Island was a step further than he could have talked about how he doesn't like the bill, even if he was really, really passionate about that and very angry. And I think that that would have been not crossing a line. Once he started like saying that stuff with Jeffrey's Island, I think that that was too much. And when I saw
Yeah.
it, I thought to myself, I think this is too much.
Now, he didn't say he regretted all of his posts. So,
No, but I think that that's the one that he listen, I don't think he regrets
yeah.
saying that he didn't like the bill. And
Yeah, yeah.
honestly, I think that it would have been fine if he said he didn't like that bill. There were issues with that bill. Like the sad part
Absolutely, yeah.
here is that I think that he had some legitimate points that he wanted to make, and perhaps had he not gone off the deep end, maybe some of those points would have been taken more seriously. Once it became, the kind of things that he was saying, it was such a you want to call it crash out, meltdown, whatever it is. It was so bonkers, out of left field that it was hard to take it seriously. I don't think he did himself or even what he believed in any favors by doing that.
No, not at all. No. So yeah, there's here I can. So yeah, here's the tweet. I regret some of my posts about President real Donald Trump last week. So there's plenty of funny follow-ups to this. There's a meme. Mistakes are always forgivable if you're man enough to admit them. Close your eyes. Okay. What do you see? Nothing. That's my world without you, bro.
Uh, yeah, there were a lot of funny memes for sure.
Yep. I haven't seen if he's posted anything back in the other direction. But yeah, there's
I think that at some point some reporter asked something of Donald Trump, and maybe he at least signaled that he wasn't. There was some kind of something that he said that made it seem like perhaps things have cooled down. Meaning I think that Trump acknowledged that Musk kind of put the car in reverse and took back some of that stuff.
well, he started talking about, oh, we're gonna make our own political party with blackjack and hookers. In fact, just forget the political party.
Yeah.
That's a Futurama joke.
I wasn't aware of it. What I did want to show you is, and I'm sorry, like I am very petty, but this is it. So can you see this? This is
Yeah.
world's number one producer, Benny Blanco. So I guess people just give him a mic now, talks about his career.
So this kid comes in, 15 years old. He's just so excited. He reminded me of me when I was a kid. I was like, all right, come work for me. First week, first 3 sessions. It's The Weeknd, Travis Scott. His third session was like Maroon 5. He's getting thrown into it. I remember we're at the first session. I'm just like, be cool. The Weeknd's in there and we're like all in a room. We're chilling. I know his mind's blown. Weeknd's his favorite artist. When no one's looking, he like sneaks a picture and he accidentally has his flash on. And it had the noise too. And so it was like, and when it did it, he went, ah, and he threw his phone. And somehow The Weeknd didn't notice. I pulled him aside after and I'm like, dude, you can't do that. Fast forward, I decided to sign him. Now he's one of the biggest music producers in the world. Last year, he won Best Record at the Grammys. He just went on the journey. He knew when his time was and he did it. So this kid comes in.
It's like, I don't know why people are sitting around wanting to listen to this Benny Blanco talk. Like, it's just, none of his stories, like, this whole thing is about how he worked with, like, The Weeknd and Travis Scott and Maroon 5. Like, I'm sorry, I'm not impressed. Like, I don't care about any of those. They just, all those are lame to me. Professor?
Oh, sorry. Yeah. No, I'm my internet keeps dropping in and out.
Oh, okay. Well,
Yeah.
and in the middle of while we were doing all of this, I got a very kind of negative comment on YouTube, and it kind of bothers me. Uh, you know what bothers me? And I'll tell you what. I feel like people have recently been going into my videos. They're not watching the video, and then they write clickbait, like, "Oh, this is one guy. I don't know if I can pull it up, but he wrote. Let me see if I can find the comment. So this guy writes." A very misleading clickbait title. You're saying that Mel Gibson's Hacksaw Ridge was above Doctor Who in the ratings, not that Disney ever wanted Gibson as the Doctor. I'm so tired of you YouTube liars. Okay, I made a video showing with real evidence that actually Disney, when Doctor Who was airing new episodes, it didn't recommend it. You know how you go into Disney Plus and they have recommendations?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Usually when there's like Daredevil new episodes, they'll recommend that. If there's even the Acolyte or any shit that sorry Sean that they did, you know that they're going to recommend it, right? You're going to go the few things that they recommend, you'll see it on the homepage because they want you to watch it. They've spent money on it, so they absolutely want you to watch it. Correct?
No question. Well, I mean, you'd think there'd be no question, but
You think,
yeah.
but what happened was is that Doctor Who the first season they did that, and the second season came along, and I think very quickly I saw that they weren't recommending it. It's almost like they didn't care if anybody watched it, and in fact they preferred if nobody watched it. They wanted nothing to do with it. And what happened was is that for like the past few weeks, there were a few weeks that instead of Doctor Who, when you look at the things like the main things they recommend, one of the things that they kept recommending was Mel Gibson's Hacksaw Ridge movie, and they kept recommending that. That's like a movie from 2016. So I made a video and I said, people keep saying, "Oh, what's Disney going to do? Maybe Disney does want to do Doctor Who, maybe it doesn't." And I'm like, this thing has been game over for a while. If for the past month they can't even find a slot on their homepage for like Doctor Who, but they always have one for Mel Gibson's Hacksaw Ridge, you know that it's game over for Doctor Who. That was what I was trying to explain in the video, and I actually captured video to show it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And
Yeah, I watched the video. Yeah, and
oh,
I'll tell you, I had a very similar experience. I have on a couple of occasions. This happened with Echo. I went on to go and see if I could watch episodes of Echo and could not find it in the recommendations. I had to go search for it, like while it was like during the premiere week of the show.
they dumped that all in one day and
And
hope
yeah,
nobody saw. They didn't want anybody watching that show. They wanted to go away and for people never to talk about it again. If you recall, they added a logo before Echo explaining that it's not really part of the MCU. I don't know if you remember that. There's like they're like, "Oh, this is a special like different label of MCU content that we're doing for more like personal stories." They've never used that logo again.
yeah. And then I did. And the funny part was that like a week later, we opened up Disney Plus for something else. My kids probably wanted to watch The Simpsons or something, but we opened up for something else, and Echo was up there in the recommendations, but because they now had it in like with the Cherokee language or something, like it
Right,
was
right. Sometimes
available
they
in a Native American language, and I was like, okay. Whatever. But yeah, no. And then exact same thing. You did, looking through to say, look, I can't find Doctor Who anywhere. The exact same thing happened. That was nowhere in the on the the week of the finale that's supposed to be airing. The day after that aired, I went on there, was looking, nowhere in the recommendations. You had to go look for, you had to search for Doctor Who to find it and to go watch that episode. And that's telling. That is really telling. So
right.
I can even back up from my own experience what you were showing in your video.
It happens, and it happens especially. They know what they want to push and what they don't want to push. Bigot on social media says, "So these idiots just read the title and rage comment without watching the video." Yes, and it happened to me with my review for Ballerina. What happens is that like I did a title about a girl boss flopping, which between you and me, the movie did flop. But what I was trying to explain in the review is I actually didn't give it a failing grade, but I explained the fatigue that people had from girl bosses, and I also explained that, you know, while they made a little more effort in this movie to make it more acceptable, the type of hits that she gets, and she uses weapons and not just throws men twice her size across the room, I still said that the screenplay wasn't very good, and it was very critical at review. And then you have people that I'm sure they just see the thumbnail, they're like, "How dare you? How dare you say that it's a girl boss this? How dare you?" It's like, watch the. I don't want to say a bad word, but watch the video. Like, and one person I even went and commented, like, I don't like picking fights on YouTube. I feel like the platform doesn't doesn't prefer when you do that. So if I get a crappy comment, I just have to sort of look at it and not say anything. And that rare occasion, I just said, I suspect you didn't actually watch the video. It seems like you're responding to the thumbnail. And I think that that happens a lot. Darren M says, Price of Reason Live, your video is pretty clear. Not understanding or watching is on that poster. You explained your point more than once in that video. Of course, not only that, it's the thing is that I actually, we talk about clickbaits. I don't want to say the name of the channel. There's one channel that has popped up, especially in recent times, and it's like growing, where there's a guy sitting there just talking a bunch of nonsense. As far as I'm concerned, he's the Mike Zero of, like, you know, science fiction or whatever you want to call it, just sitting there blabbing about a bunch of crap that I feel like he has nothing on. He has all the quote unquote leaks. He knows this, he knows that. I don't believe one word this guy has to say, yet people kind of refer to him as if they think he's a thing. That guy, you can go to his videos and write whatever you want about his, you know, thumbnails and clickbait and stuff like that. But in my videos, whenever you click on them, I do explain why I wrote that in the thumbnail. Now, you could accuse me and say, "Hey, your thumbnails are set up in a way that you want people to press them." Sure. I mean, you have to do marketing for your videos. If you're just going to not do anything with your thumbnail and not create a reason for people to click on it, sure, it's not going to get as many clicks, and you have to think about that when you're making your thumbnail. But whatever I do believe that if you click on my videos and I say that there's something I want to talk about, I will talk about that in my video. So I just don't like. I have nothing but good things to say about YouTube. That's what Adam Gray said. I don't understand.
Oh, he's been having nonstop
Ah,
problems with YouTube in recent days. Specifically, they told him he was trying for monetization for, I believe the fourth time now, Adam, and he had to send in his appeal video on the 11th. And so he was preparing to send it in on the 11th. And when he went to go send it in on the 11th, it said, "Your link expired on June 11th."
that's weird.
Yeah.
That's annoying. Hey, Tom from Midnight's Edge After Dark. How's it going, man? Istophobos, ballerina. They make it a very large point to say that she has to fight like the girl, and then she proceeds to spend the rest of the movie tanking huge hits and not fighting like a girl. Well, I partially agree with you, and I'll tell you what I think. First of all, if I'm honest, those John Wick movies, especially the last two, do start feeling like a video game. Even John Wick just goes like through fight after fight, and it feels like a video game. I feel like she very much felt that way too. The only thing I'll say about Ballerina that I did appreciate is that most like what they teach her is that, like, she has to use knives, she has to use a sword. There's one thing where she's throwing plates at people, she's throwing objects, she's picking up, she's improvising anything she can find, she throws it, she uses guns. It's rare that you see a situation where she suddenly takes a guy that's like twice her size and throws him across the room. That's what most of those kind of girl boss movies do. They at least make some kind of effort not to do that. The reason why it doesn't go very appreciated is because of the video game atmosphere. Once she's just going another fight, much like that later John Wick movie, you can't really take it seriously. There's like no stakes because, like I said, when you're feeling that you're watching a video game, it does feel like, you know, it kind of, it's counterproductive if they were trying to make you feel that she's fighting like a girl. So I can understand the sentiment, but if I zoom out and look at it as a movie from the John Wick franchise, it wouldn't be the only movie guilty of that. I think. Did you see Ballerina, Professor?
Oh no, I haven't seen any of the John Wick stuff. I have had many people tell me I should at least see the first one. So maybe I'll get around to it. I'll see. I've been working through classic stuff with my son over the last few weeks. As we work our way through the summer. So we've been watching more classic stuff. We watched The Godfather together the other day. First time he'd seen The Godfather. We watched Blade Runner today, so he could enjoy that. So yeah, watching more classic things. Now he says he wants to see Terminator and Predator. So I said, yes, sir. Yes, young man, we will watch
Oh, Terminator,
Terminator
Predator. Those are good
and
movies.
the
Those
Predator.
are
Yes.
good. I honestly, Terminator for me, over the years, it's a movie that I keep liking even more. I liked it growing up, but somehow when you grow up, you feel one way about a movie, another way about a movie. Terminator is a movie that I absolutely love. I love that movie. And my appreciation grows for that with every year. I don't know why, but that's what happened with that movie for me. Adam Gray says Rumble is the future. Well, that's why we actually do a dual stream. Some people, basically, we usually have a good audience that's made up of a few platforms, and certainly we have our people that watch us on Rumble, and we love that. We love that people watch on Rumble, and Rumble is a great platform for freedom of speech. If you're not signed up for it, you should sign up. It's free. And once you do, for less than a cup of coffee a day, you can follow us. Actually, not even. I just love saying that now because I think of the fat guy with a beard talking to the African children. I wish I can find. How come I can't find that commercial? I want to find the plump guy with the children in Africa, and I can't find that commercial.
All I can find are the Sally Struthers commercials. When I look.
That one's not as good. I want the fat the fat guy with a beard.
Yeah.
I wish I could find it. I don't know why. I can't remember his name. They used to show that commercial all the time, and how could I not record it? How do I not have that thing? I didn't know. I didn't appreciate it. I didn't appreciate. Well, it's not that it's supposed to be funny. It's not funny, but somehow I want to see that commercial. In any case, yeah. So it's actually free. You can sign up for free. You can follow us for free, and then you can always know when we're streaming. In addition, we're always here Tuesday and Thursday, 11:45 p.m. Eastern on the Night Owl. And then in addition to that, if you're on YouTube and you're watching it there and you haven't yet subscribed, you should subscribe now, as we've had a nice kind of influx of numbers on the live stream channel there over the past month or so. And we'd love to get a few more if it's possible. I knew Price was. What makes you think? What makes you think I'm black? What did I say? Not that there's anything wrong with it, but I'm not black. I've said it before. Maybe it's the voice. People think that It's funny. I said this before that once I worked in an office and I was supposed to interview some lady, and when she came to the interview, she sat down and she said, I said, yeah, I'm Roy, whatever, I don't know what. And she said, I don't know if this is considered offensive. And then she said this in her interview. She said, I don't know if it's considered offensive or not. I thought you were black based on your voice on the phone. And I said, no, I mean, I myself didn't even know how to react to it. I just kind of like brushed it off. I'm like, I don't know if is it supposed to, why would she think that's offensive? You know what I mean? It's a strange conversation, and I steered away from whatever it is that was being discussed. But yeah, I am. I don't know why.
Next time you say, "Oh, I thought you were attractive," by the sound of your voice. Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, okay. You'll fund me for less than a cup of coffee a day. Yes, but I'm actually playing the role of the fat guy in the green sweater and the big beard, talking to the little African kids. That was my role in all of this. I want to be that guy, and I can't even remember his name, and I can't find his foundation. Another thing that they sometimes do is they have those commercials. This always gets to me, that like animals or bad things are happening to them. Sometimes like they put on, I don't really watch a lot of like network TV or anything, cable or anything like that these days. Most of what I watch is like streaming, but back in the day, especially in later hours of the night, they would suddenly put on a commercial with the animals that seem to go on forever. And they show you like animals that are like suffering and they're playing this violin music. And
Oh, it was the
man,
worst.
like, and the thing is, I would change the channel and I'd be like, I can't watch this. I'm sorry. Like, I can't watch this. And I would turn the channel and then I would wait, like, seemingly wait like 2 minutes or something. And I'd be like, okay, I'll turn it back now to the channel I was watching. And then I turn it back and they're still talking for like another hour and showing more animals suffering. And do you know what I'm talking? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Oh yeah.
Like, oh, there's so many. Look at this dog. And like, you see some dog that looks like he's miserable and there's like a violin. It's not nice to do that to people. It is not nice. That's what I'll say.
Yep.
I think that we have some stuff going on Rumble. There are some
Yeah.
Rumble.
Got a couple of rants over there.
Well, Istophobos says the bill basically spit in the face of all the work Elon and his team have been doing for 6 months. It added $4 trillion to an already unsustainable debt. I agree with you, but the thing is that I think that Elon went about it the wrong way. At the end of the day, he's not the president. Washington is a complicated place. Politics is a more complicated place. It's not like Twitter that he could walk in and say, I own this company now. I'm firing 75% of the people. Screw you. Now I'm going to do it this way. You can't do that with the government. Even if you are friends with the president, even the president himself just can't snap his fingers, unfortunately. You'd hope that the guy is aggressive enough to get some things through. And sometimes you'll have wins and sometimes you'll have losses. I will say that he made a lot of great points about his bill. I actually agreed with a lot of what Elon Musk was saying. I just think that you also have to know how to say it. And you can't always expect that every single thing that you want will happen exactly the way you want it. Maybe if there would have been a few points that interested him, and he really sat on that and really made us think about it without crossing lines, maybe it would have been taken more seriously.
Yeah, it felt like it. Well, it was just kind of. Well, I don't know. It was a bit of a rant in a way. Just kind of, this is not the way I like it, whatever. And then sort of it devolved really quickly into the very silly, like high school
It felt
drama
very
crap.
petty.
And that just it made it feel so unserious. But yes, I completely agree. When it came to what Elon really had to say, he wasn't saying this is all wrong. He was just very upset, as Istavo was saying that. Yeah, he did a lot of work to try and cut money out of the budget, and then they still weren't actually codifying any of the stuff that his group was doing in law. Although the House did move to do some of that stuff today, get some of that actually put into law, so that's good. He's very concerned about the amount of debt that's being taken on by the federal government. And saying, oh, well, you know what? Who cares about that? We're going to keep raising the debt limit. We're going to keep adding more to the debt. And so that, that's really, really frustrating. I could see why he would be upset. Right. So what's this Phobos have to say about Ballerina?
Ballerina, he said it before. They made a large point to say that she fights like a girl, then she proceeds to spend the rest of the movie taking huge hits, and not fighting like a girl. Again, it's like I said, the movies themselves, even if you look at the John Wick, especially the last one or two, they're so preposterous with all those scenes. And like I said, it just feels like it doesn't even feel like an action movie, those later things. They feel like a video game. I don't say that lightly. I like Keanu Reeves and all that, and maybe that's the saving grace of the John Wick movies. And Ana de Armas isn't Keanu Reeves, and she doesn't have that same cool factor. I thought that the movie, for whatever it was, it didn't get like a flying colors review for me, but I didn't give it a complete failing grade because for whatever it was almost serviceable enough. It's for me, the screenplay is really what. If they would have made less preposterous fights and focused a little more on some storytelling, there was a pretty good story to be told there. It almost feels like the first third or maybe first half of the movie somebody cared a little bit about storytelling, and then somebody just said, ah, you know what, fuck it. Sorry, Sean. Let's just do like a lot of action scenes, and that's it. And that's what the movie feels like. When there's nothing at stake and there's no like emotional beats, and all you get is just fight after fight, fight after fight. And yes, her kicking ass every second more and more and more. At the end, it's just forget about the girl boss thing. It just feels kind of tired. It just feels it's like exhausting to even watch it, even if it's kind of stylish and well made. The choreography for fights is pretty good. I don't know. That's my general feeling of it. But yes, Istophobos. I think. Did I miss another one?
He has, yeah. There's one more in there.
Oh, Istophobos. Of course, he handled it the wrong way. Elon handled it terribly. Check your Twitter. His name is Alan Sadler, and I sent you. Oh, okay. I looked at this thing that you sent me, Istophobos, and it does look like the guy, but I felt like maybe there was another commercial with another guy that seemed like maybe plumper, or maybe I saw different years, maybe I saw later years. I don't know. But let's share this. Are you ready?
Sure, go for it.
In any case, thank you for the Rumble rant, and thank you for also sharing this. This is courtesy of Istophobos. You're all ready. Are you ready, Professor?
Yes.
Pennies, nickels, dimes, we're always getting change. What if instead of throwing it on your dresser,
Oh, this is the guy I remember. Yeah.
her? What if you used it to change her life? Sponsor a child through Christian Children's Fund. In fact, call right now, and ask for the picture of one little boy or girl who needs you. What we don't give a second thought to can change a life.
It's in the right direction.
Yeah.
But I feel like there's something else that I didn't see here. But this is as close as it's going to get.
Oh, there were some long form versions of that with him walking around and like picking up trash out of their like water
Right, and I remember like African
reservoirs
kids. I remember that they were like in Africa. This young
Yeah.
lady was not in Africa. I remember that there were African kids, and I thought that the guy was plumper. But you know what? This is in that direction. This was the general vibe of those. But I feel like I've seen funnier ones than this. Funny. It's not funny that people are starving, but you understand what I'm trying to say. I'm talking
Yeah.
about the production value, and I'm separating two things. One, hunger is bad, and helping people that are hungry is important. Number two, these commercials, just the production of them, as a guy that makes videos and stuff, it's kind of ridiculous. And I can't help but seeing the humor in how awful these commercials are made. They're like very cheap.
Mhm.
Well, now you have his name. You can find his other commercials. Istophobos. That is true. I can do that. I think TBS used to show the commercial late at night in the 1980s, early 90s. Yeah, many years. I also think that there was the animal ones. The animal ones that is really, really difficult. I actually have more trouble watching the animal ones than the ones with the kids.
Oh,
I
yeah,
don't know
yeah.
why this is a terrible thing for me to say. You know why? Because the kids are just kind of standing there. You feel bad for them, but it feels very kind of produced and whatever. The thing with the animals that they just take like animals suffering. I don't know why that one makes me more miserable.
Yeah, I think naturally a lot of people have kind of there's a I don't know. There's a switch inside of us that sees animals as being particularly innocent, and to see them being abused in some way is incredibly incredibly moving. There's something inside a lot of people that's just too far, right? There's suffering in the world. There's poverty. People are sick. And we see a lot of that. But to actually see an innocent animal, being subjected to some kind of suffering is something that many people have a hard time dealing with. So yeah, I totally understand.
Yeah, so that's what I always remember. And the music was annoying too. That's another thing.
In the arms of an angel.
Right,
Something like that, yeah.
yeah. There's something like that. Exactly.
Yeah, you're like, go away.
That's true. That's what it was. It was like it, they did this on purpose. I also don't think it's fair to do that. It's not nice to show you a commercial just so that you suffer. I think it's counterproductive. Maybe they did it. Maybe people contributed. I don't know. But for me, it had the opposite effect. You know what's strange?
There
Sometimes I go to the supermarket
Oh, yeah?
and I don't know how it is next to where you're at. When I go to the register, it always asks me at the end, "Hey, do you want to donate $1 for hungry children or something like that?" When I'm about to put in my the credit card or you know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah, I know exactly what you mean, yeah.
And I think that almost every time I give $1, and the truth is, I always suspect that dollar will never go to whoever they say that it'll go. I'm that kind of person. I'm really skeptic, but I just for the chance that it may go to them, I give the dollar. One day it'll turn out that there's like a man sitting somewhere and behind a desk, and my whole life of giving that dollar, he's like collected every single dollar I've given.
Even Sarah McLachlan can't make it
Right,
through
right, it's
the
Sarah
Sarah
McLachlan.
McLachlan dog commercial.
Ah,
It's
ah.
not often an ad is memorable enough that people will remember it years and years later, but it happens, and we bet you you can remember the ASPCA ads performed by singer-songwriter Sarah McLachlan that first hit the airwaves about 7 years ago. Like, this article was written in 2015, right? So she says it was brutal doing those ads. It was like, can you just be a little sadder and a little more this, a little more that? And now I can't watch them. It kills me.
Well, if the lady that sings it feels that way, then I think I have the right to
Yeah.
feel that way as well. Isafobo said, "Whenever I saw one of those commercials, I thought you're standing right there, dude. Why don't you give them your sandwich?" Yeah, I feel
Yeah, exactly.
that's what I thought. No, I think most people that watched it thought that. Somehow, I don't know why that guy didn't project like sensitive man helping. There was just something a bit. Now, I'm not saying he was a slippery man. Maybe he's a saint or was a saint, but somehow he came off that way in those commercials, and I can't really explain why.
Yeah, I don't know. Oh, we have a super chat over on YouTube from our buddy Mo.
Okay, hold on. What's no king sick puppet? King sick puppet? I don't know what that means.
You're King Sick Puppet.
I am?
Apparently, yes.
That's good to know. Okay, let me find. I'm gonna pull up. Okay, let me find the super chat from YouTube. Oh, it's Mo Zamboni. How's it going,
Yeah.
man? 1 second. I'm going to share this just so people can see it. We are here. And thank you so much, Mo. That's very kind of you. Thank you
appreciate
for okay. Support for R2 and the King. I think he meant to say King Sock Puppet.
Yep. And
And then he said,
Mary
okay,
White
ooh,
says, no,
sucks, yeah.
King Sick Puppet is better.
Actually, King Sick Puppet is actually, it sounds cool. It sounds more like artsy.
You're sick, bro.
It's sick, bro. I'm the sick puppet.
Well,
I'll take it.
We had
I
Tom
will
in here tonight.
absolutely-
We had Mo. We didn't need Nick to pop in and have everybody over here from the usual on Mead.
Carp of reason, I guess. Well, yeah, I mean, we have been talking for a while, and we before we'll jump into the Spaceballs thing in a second. Man, we really went all over the place from
we've
Mr.
been
D.
we've been meandering all over the place. Hell, we talked about Sarah McLachlan dog commercials for a few minutes.
We managed to talk about a war, about Trump and Elon, the Beatles, Brian Wilson, sick dogs, some guy with a beard in Ethiopia. I think we really went in a lot of different directions here. And yeah, so the one thing I wanted to say is that I saw like Gavin Newsom today. Like, did you see that he declared like a big win for himself?
Oh, well, of course he did. That's the way. That's exactly how Democrats do things. That's how everybody on the left does things. They fail miserably and then declare victory. That's how it works.
So there was something here. Where was it? That's like we were here. This was it. Let's see if I can do this. Share this tab. Can you see it?
Mm-hmm.
So he wrote, "Major win. Trump just reversed course on immigration. We're watching closely and we'll hold him to it. This happened because you spoke up. Keep it going. Keep it peaceful. It's working." I don't even, what the fuck is this guy talking? This guy is the biggest phony. I can't take one word that he says seriously. But let's listen to it.
Oh, I can't hear it.
Can you see it?
I can see it, but I'm not hearing anything.
Oh, okay. Hold on one second. And then let's see if if it helped at all.
Yeah,
Can you hear it now?
I'm still not hearing it. That's weird.
That is very weird. Stop sharing. I hope it doesn't mean I have to go outside and come back in. Well, I'll do that. Hopefully I got all the super chats. I did see all of Vistafobo's
Yeah,
super chats.
I think we got them all.
Okay, I'll be right.
Tell a joke, Professor. All right. Why don't scientists trust atoms?
Okay, let's see if this works now.
But because they make up everything.
Let's see if you could hear it now.
Indiscriminately. There we go.
So basically, he put this post of how he's winning, and this is his video. He made a video.
So just moments ago, Donald Trump made a major reversal in his mass deportation policy. Indiscriminately, he's been sending armed agents into farms and fields and ranches all throughout California and increasingly across the country. I was in Oxnard, California yesterday. I met with a 12-year-old boy, tears pouring down his face. His mom and dad snatched by agents. They were working the fields for over 20 years. He doesn't know where they are. He has no family in the United States. He's here alone, a sixth grader. Donald Trump may not care about him, but he's finally listening to you, calling out these indiscriminate acts of cruelty. Let's keep up the pressure and let's do it peacefully. So just moments ago, Donald Trump made a major...
This guy just has... It's like, I'm really good at reading people, okay? And don't get me wrong. There are plenty politicians that I'm not a fan of. Most politicians I'm not a fan of. I can really, like, just by hearing somebody's voice and, like, seeing their face, I can really gather a lot about what they're like. And don't think that, most politicians, even ones that we talk about, even whatever, I don't love politicians in general. This guy specifically rubs me the wrong way. He's just... There's something so, even more than usual, even more than your average politician, there's something so phony baloney about this guy that it really just annoys me.
Yeah, he's very... He feels so phony. He feels like... I don't even know.
I don't believe one word. Like, there's nothing... There's a good politician, even one that's, let's say, a jerk, knows how to, like, speak in a way that at least it seems like he's trying to reach out to you or something. This guy is one of the most insincere speakers I've seen.
Yeah. So here's the actual post that he's referring to that Trump made on Truth Social. He says, our great farmers and people in the hotel and leisure business have been stating that our very aggressive policy on immigration is taking very good long-time workers away from them, with those jobs being almost impossible to replace. In many cases, the criminals allowed in our country by the very stupid Biden open borders policy are applying for those jobs. This is not good. We must protect our farmers, but get the criminals out of the USA. Changes are coming. So it sounds like perhaps there might be some adjustment in how they've been actually executing on the plan of removing a lot of illegals. Perhaps uh, again focusing more on getting rid of the criminals, the criminal element, and slowing down perhaps some of their enforcement on other illegals who are in the country. But I don't think this is going to end his desire to get rid of illegals who are in the country. Perhaps they're just looking to slow down a little bit of what they're doing, or maybe it's just there to try and appease some people. Who knows?
Yeah, but in any case, I feel like Gavin Newsom like will use anything to try to
Yeah,
make himself look good or whatever it is that he tries to do. I just
yeah.
the place that okay, he's lost me at different stages of his career, but I think that if we're thinking even more recently, that there were the fires, and immediately as the fires were happening, he like started his own podcast to try to like lure and rope in like Charlie Kirk and all these people to make it seem like he's middle of the road because he's worried about his 2028 prospects. Man, I don't. Years ago, I told you that many years ago, I lived in California for a few years, and this is when I was young. But maybe because of those few years, I always feel like it's a place that I really like. I also spent a lot of time there, also things that I was working. So I spent time there beyond in later years. I spent like extended amount of time there in different years. And this guy has really ruined it, in my opinion. He's done so much damage to California. And generally, we laugh about California, but when I don't think about what's been there in more recent years, I really like the place. When I think about how it used to be like a nice place to go to. Or even for the few
Mhm.
years that I lived there, I remember it fondly. It had like good weather. There was like a good vibe, but I don't know. I guess times are different now. And when I think of like what California has become, I think of this guy. It's true
Yeah,
though. It's
no,
true
no,
that
yeah, it absolutely. I mean, he has been in charge there for quite some time now. What is he? Is this year 5 or 6 now that he's been there? He's got a year or two left on his last term that he can run. So he's been around for a while, and yeah, he's just the slimiest politician. I swear. I can't stand him. I really can't. And yeah, there was the whole thing with his little podcast where he was trying to uh humanize himself by people coming on and interviewing with him and stuff, and it was so fake. It was so phony. uh, yeah, I the sooner this guy is out of public life the better, and I certainly don't want him being a candidate for president. That's for damn sure.
I mean, the thing is, the candidate part isn't what worries me. If he actually became the president, I would really be worried. There's a few people that if they became president, I would be worried. Probably he's one of them. The other one is like AOC
Oh
or
yeah.
any member of her like squad or whatever it is. Those are like AOC, the squad. I don't know if Jasmine Crockett or whatever is considered part of that squad. Gavin Newsom, people like that, I think of them, and that worries me. If suddenly like I woke up and they were president, and I don't usually say that. There's like usually even if it's like, I mean, maybe these days it's different, but for many years, whether it was a Republican or a Democrat, I'd just be like, well, that person's the president now. Hopefully, he'll try to do what's best for the country. Uh, those people that I mentioned, I'm not sure they're looking to do what's best for anybody, really.
Oh, they just want whatever is the best for themselves. Yeah, absolutely.
I mean,
And
I'm not kidding myself. Even when we see these kind of like, people that are even Republicans or even Trump or all these other people, when you're powerful and you're a position of power, it sometimes, helps you and the people around you. And I'm not going to pretend that I don't know that, but somehow if they can at least sort of pretend to do something that's good for the American people, that feels better for me. I feel like, somebody like Gavin Newsom doesn't even pretend. He doesn't do like the bare minimum to even put on the act that he's doing something positive. Or maybe he's just
Yeah.
not good at putting on the act. I don't really know how to explain it, but I just at the end, I guess politics is there's a lot of who's the lesser evil, and it's sometimes hard to decide who the lesser evil is. But Gavin Newsom is a guy that doesn't rub me the right way. Don't know how to explain it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. There's a few others too.
Tim Walz.
Jim Waltz.
Tim Walz.
Then if you go to Congress, there's people like Rashida Tlaib.
Oh,
If you
she's
saw today, you just screaming, just completely lost composure, just screaming like some sort of banshee on the House floor. It was ridiculous.
she's always
Uh,
like that. Bigot
she,
on social media said if this guy's ever elected president, he'd get along well with Macron and Starmer.
oh, he sure
I'm sure he
would.
would.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
yeah.
exactly. He is exactly cut from their cloth. He's perfect. He would be best buddies with them. Trudeau also. He comes from those. I feel like he's cut from the cloth of like the likes of those kind of Macron, Starmer, Trudeau. All of them feel kind of have this kind of condescending thing about them.
Mhm.
This kind of they managed to like find to be a hybrid of like condescending and slippery, which somehow is not a pleasant combination.
Yeah.
Caleb Levine says Walsh deployed the guard to keep people locked down during the coup. Yep. Gavin
Sure
Newsom
did.
told everybody to flatten the curve, and then he went out on the town, had a grand old time as he was shutting down like all businesses. He went and had a grand old time. I don't know if you remember that.
Oh yeah. Oh no. Yeah. Absolutely.
What was it? The French Laundry? What was it? The place called?
Yeah, I think that's it.
That was a restaurant, though. It wasn't a French
Yeah.
Laundry. It was like some
Yeah, it's
snooty
a
French
restaurant.
place.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is that's the snooty restaurant? It was called like the French Laundry. That sounds weird that's what the restaurant would be called, but that's what I have in my mind.
Yeah, it's in Napa, I think.
Of course it is.
Yeah, it's a Michelin star restaurant. Yeah.
I don't get the laundry part though. Is it laundry or is it laundry? I'm trying to think. Is it really like French
It's
laundry?
laundry, yeah.
You know what? The world is a weird place. I thought to myself, you're probably not remembering correctly. He couldn't have gone to eat at a place called the French Laundry, but here we are. Went to hang out with his friends over there. It's like the worst example. At least if you're going to do all that crap, at least pretend to do it. Like, and he didn't even. He just did. What even happened when he got caught? He's like, yeah, just made some bullshit excuse, like it's nothing. But you know what? I'll give him one thing. The people in California seem to love this guy. He just does all this crap, and they'll always tell him how great it is, and they'll always vote for him. Don't know what that says about California, but that's, I guess, the truth. He's still there.
Mm-hmm.
Adam Gray, yes, the French Laundry, been there, been a peon there. What does that mean?
Oh, peon.
No, I mean, was he really there, or is he joking?
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah,
I've never been there.
Been one of the little people there. Yeah,
What'd you say?
He's been one of the little people there, I guess. Yeah, but
I see what you mean.
That during COVID-19. Yeah, there was the whole thing with where there were pictures of him taken there with lobbyists. Afterwards he said, "Oh, it was a dumb mistake," right? But like this is when he was locking down businesses,
Right.
all small businesses, restaurants all over the state were going under because people couldn't operate under all of the restrictions. People weren't allowed to go to church. People weren't allowed to gather for AA meetings. I mean, just ridiculous stuff, right?
Right. I
and
mean,
they shut things down all over the state, and then he shows up and he's eating in a freaking restaurant, no mask on, and everything, and he just his only apology was, well, it was a dumb mistake, he said.
the thing is that this seemingly is like, oh, it was a dumb mistake. If you're going to be the guy that shuts down everybody's business and they're not making money because of you, forget about how you feel about Couve. Forget about everything. Just like you're supposed to be the number one citizen of the state or whatever you want to call it, setting an example. If you're telling people, listen, we're all in this together, we got to shut this down. The Couve is more important. Forget about now if you agree with that or not. If after you say that and you shut everybody's business down, some people that went out of business, that you ruined their lives with your policies, if you can't afterwards just do exactly what it is that you told them to do, I think you got no business continuing being in that position. You know what I mean? This is beyond the coup. This is like you're saying that you need to set an example, and then you do the exact opposite of what you're telling people they need to do. And it's not something minor. It's not just something where it's like he wore a blue sweater. You know what I mean? This is a very serious thing that he did. And the fact that he could do it and nobody even wanted to remove him and all these people in California love him really
Yeah.
says a lot.
A lot of people in California don't love him. In fact, he's elected by, I think, if you put all the votes together, I think he was elected by like 5 counties, like, because they're so populous, right? These huge counties, like, that's it. Like like the whole rest of the state didn't vote for him.
Yeah, I see what you mean. Because of like what is it, gerrymandering? Is there something?
Well, gerrymandering is a thing that can happen when you do votes. That's primarily federal. The way that is they set up the different counties, and gerrymandering is based after and much older person working in the federal government, senator, I believe, who was helping to rewrite different districts so that you could very specifically pick who is in your district, so you could kind of work your way around. Oh, we don't want this black community in our district, or we don't want this Jewish community in our district, or whatever. And so the original thing that they created, the guy's name was Jerry, and he created a district that looked like a salamander in the way that it was trying to pick and choose different neighborhoods that were included in the district. And so that's where the thing came from. But yeah, it's not just that. It's just simply that there's some counties that are massively overpopulated, and then there's others that are enormous and have almost nobody in them because they're in much less densely populated areas.
Istophobos says, I was a roadie for In Cold Blood when they played at Coppola's estate for Nick Cage's birthday party. I once did some work in Vegas, and I was at a hotel, and they told me that for a while Nick Cage was at that hotel that I stayed at. I'm trying to think if he was at the same time. I never ran into him. Apparently there was a time that he stayed there for like a very extended amount of time, and I'd sometimes do some work there. Never ran into him, though. Let's see. There was something that somebody said. I think Adam had some comment about doing Sean Parker's wedding, but I don't know. It's not popping up in the feed here that I can highlight, but it was an interesting comment.
Mm.
Sean Parker is, I think, the guy from Napster, and then I think he was part of Facebook until he got booted out.
Yeah.
Vaguely, I remember.
Yeah. Adam says, I worked at Sean Parker's Facebook, Spotify, $10 million wedding. I've done 10,000 Tech Bro holiday parties. It is filthy and dehumanizing. I can't. Yeah, that's the service industry. Yay! Yeah, and especially when you're dealing with people who are just ultra wealthy. Far too many of them have forgotten what it's like to be someone who's working in those service positions. I thoroughly support everyone having to work in a service job for some time in their life. It baffles me the number of people who are completely void of compassion for people working in service industries. I worked in a while in a bookstore in retail. I worked for a while as a server in a restaurant, and yeah, I have great respect for everything those people. Many of them who are just trying to make a living, trying to work their way through school, trying to help bring home some bacon so that they can make their house payments or whatever. Uh, even some of them who are elderly and just there because they need something to help ends meet, and they work in these service industries, and many of them are just treated like dirt by so many of their customers, and it's incredibly sad. I mean, I'm a big boy. I could handle it, but yeah, there were a lot of there were a lot of people that I saw just treating my fellow coworkers like scum, and it blew me away. And I've had to I've had to lecture friends about mistreating waiters, waitresses, and stuff like that because they've never been in those types of jobs, and it's really frustrating. It's like, oh, I'm going to stiff somebody on their tip because because the food service took too long. It's like, do you have any idea how that works? Like, it took them too long to bring your food. That's not your server's fault, right? Necessarily. There's all sorts of things happening in the back with the kitchen and all sorts of stuff. Could be that they're slammed. They don't have enough people in the back cooking the food. No, what kind of service did they offer you? That's what you're tipping on. No, anyway. Yeah, it's really sad. The number of people who just don't give any respect, any care to people who work in the service industry.
Yeah, I I agree. I haven't really. I'm trying to think. I've been in jobs that I basically have to provide service for people.
Yeah,
Not that kind of service in terms of like being a server at a restaurant, but a lot of stuff that has to do with like call it customer service, customer relations. That you have clients that they're counting on you to deliver certain things, and a lot of things don't go with the way they like, and they complain and things like that. I've certainly been in situations like that, and it's yeah, it's difficult.
yeah. Says bookstore, soft living. Try Meat Factory for life experience. I know people who have worked in the meat factory, meat packing plants. Yeah, it is hard work, and it is dangerous work as well. Yeah,
I've been told that there was
yeah.
a second.
There is a rumble rant from One Dirty Bird waiting on
Okay,
us.
okay, we have a few things going on at the same time. So first of all, let's find the rumble rant from One Dirty Bird. Yes, we
And
got
then, yes, we
this.
do have a super chat on YouTube as well.
There's I won't give money to ASPCA. I thought my dog was poisoned, and they would not give me any information unless I gave them $60. It's fair enough. I mean,
Oof, that's
it's
unpleasant.
it's a shame that that's the way it runs, but I'm not
Yep.
completely shocked. A lot of these
Uh,
organizations.
yeah,
That's what I was saying about the supermarket thing. That you give $1, at the end it goes to some, it goes to some nonprofit, whatever. But there's a guy sitting there. I don't know what this guy is doing. I don't know what's happening to the money. It's like
yeah,
I really wish if there was somebody that I saw that needed that dollar, I would prefer to just give it to them. But what can I do? They always
yeah,
ask me on the way out of the super, and I do it. I'll
yeah.
give you an example. I'll give you an example. This is a true story. True story now. Okay. So this is maybe this could be 20 years ago. Okay. I had a girlfriend, and she was always supposedly caring about strange causes and things like that. And we went by maybe some store, and in that store, it was you know how Lance Armstrong used to have those bracelets or something,
Sure, yeah, yep. Live strong.
Live Strong or whatever it is. So what happened is that I guess we were there and you were supposed to like give money to get like a yellow bracelet or something like that. And there was somebody trying to coax us to do that when we were buying something at some shop or something. And the whole thing annoyed me. And I didn't feel like even there were two things I thought to myself. One, the person in that like shop, I don't know what those bracelets are. I don't even know if they were real. I could manufacture them. There's nothing special about those stupid rubber yellow bracelets to begin with. So A, the guy could be a complete fraud and you're just giving him money and he's probably just pocketing it for himself. And the other thing is that even that organization, like people at the time, like Lance Armstrong was the greatest thing that ever happened to them. I always had like a strange feeling about him as well. Now, I didn't know exactly all the details, but I didn't trust him, his organization. I didn't trust that store that wanted to sell the bracelets. And I think on our way out, I said everything that I thought. And she was very, very offended by everything I was saying. And you know what? I think about it today and I feel really good about myself. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like I was on top of my game. I said that I didn't like it, and I know exactly why I didn't. Lance Armstrong at the end didn't end up being like the knight in shining armor that was described to me. So I knew that was a sham. So I'm happy I said it. So if anybody was offended, like I feel completely vindicated. You know what I mean? And the fishy guy at the shop with the bracelets, I don't trust that person either. I feel good about the fact that I thought it was fishy and didn't want to give them money.
Yeah. Yeah. I believe wholeheartedly in charity, and I believe in giving directly. Find some place local to give, to that you feel you're going to make a difference, some cause that you care about. If I'm going to give, I'm not going to give to the ASPCA. I'm going to give to my local animal shelter where I know people and I can see that it's making an impact. Same with lots of other things. If you want to give to the homeless, you want to care for people, help them get jobs, whatever, there's plenty of local charities that you can go directly to, and you can donate directly to them. These gigantic charities that run all over the country, so much of your money gets poured directly into $1 million salaries for their administrative team. Just no thank you. No thanks.
Well, I'm trying to think because Mo Zamboni said that he doesn't know what the price of reason is, but here you go. I guess he gave $2. First of all,
Yeah.
thank you very much, Mo. Nice
Is
to see you.
$2 the price? Is what he's asking. He's not sure how much the price of reason is. What exactly the total of the.
Okay.
He knows who you are, but he doesn't know what the price.
He doesn't know what the price is. Well, according to Pablo Hidalgo, the price is $1.05, I think. I'm trying to see if I can find that tweet of his. Is he still? Did he close his account?
On X, he may have. Let's see.
I feel like he closed it. Oh, that's too bad. I don't know if I ever saved it. Basically, once Pablo Hidalgo about me, because sometimes I used to get into like discussions with him and he would annoy me. I don't remember what we were going back and forth with, but somebody says, "Oh, what do you think the price of reason is?" And then he said it's $1.05. And the reason he said it was because there's the movie Team America where freedom is $1.05. And I assume that that's what he was trying to say. The thing is, I'm price of reason and not price of freedom. So
Yeah,
the joke didn't really make any sense to me, but that was his joke. He wrote, "Oh, it's $1.05."
if I look up Pablo Hidalgo price of reason on Perplexity, it says there's no evidence that Pablo Hidalgo and price of reason are directly connected. Pablo Hidalgo is a well-known creative executive at Lucasfilm. Price of Reason refers to a Twitter, now X handle, that has commented on Hidalgo's behavior, specifically criticizing him for making fun of fans who react emotionally to Star Wars content.
Oh, good. Well, yeah. I'm trying to see. It seems like Pablo Hidalgo closed his account and somebody else
Probably.
opened it.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. Yeah. That's what's so stupid. Some of these people have been like, I'm deleting my account forever, and don't realize that like 90 days later, like it just opens up and anyone can take it. So it's incredibly stupid to close your account. Delete all your stuff, hold on to your account so that somebody else can't squat on it later.
Yeah. Well, maybe he wanted all this stuff to leave. He always was a very fishy guy. He had all this kind of secret accounts and all
Yeah.
this stuff that he used to do.
Well, I'm saying you can delete all the content off of your, off of your social media if you really want to.
I
But
wish I
you
would have
don't
archived every tweet of his.
Yeah, but you don't have to but you don't have to delete your account, because if you do, then maybe someone might squat on it later.
Yeah, that's true. Anyhow, what was I going to say?
Don't know.
Well, we talked about a lot of stuff, but we didn't get to the Spaceballs part yet. Now we're talking Spaceballs.
Spaceballs. Yeah, so who hasn't seen the trailer yet today? I
Yeah, let's
wonder.
see that
Here, I
teaser
can
thing.
share it. I can share it
Okay,
here.
you can share it.
We haven't hit the 2-hour mark yet, so my sharing hasn't stopped working. All right, here we go. I think this is at 1.5 speed or 1.25 speed. There's been a prequel trilogy, a sequel trilogy, a sequel to the prequel, a prequel to the sequel, countless TV spin-offs, movie spin-off, a TV spin-off, which is both a prequel and a sequel. And then it mentions all these other movies. 2 avatars plus 3 upcoming avatars, making 5 avatars. DCU Attempt 1, DCU Attempt 2. The whole streaming service of Star Trek. 4 Beatles movies?
After 40 years, we asked, what do the fans want? But instead, we're making this movie. May the Schwartz be with you.
I just feel like this whole thing is unnecessary. I'm not excited about it, but
Yeah, well, first of all, it is an Amazon MGM production. So we know that Amazon's going to be involved. It sounds like it is going to be some sort of prequel, sequel. They're going to mess around with that some, which is fine. I don't mind what they do there. There's plenty to make fun of in both the sequels and the prequels. But here's the thing. I think I mentioned this in a chat earlier today. If they're not making a prequel with Lewis Pullman playing the role of Lone Star, what are they even doing? It's perfect. He looks so much like his dad. And
it's
he's
true. But
actually a pretty good actor. Like they should totally do that.
the only catch is that I'm sick of prequels, but I agree
Yeah,
with
I
you.
know.
What I would do is that I would actually bring Bill Pullman to play Lone Star, and then I'd have like a younger generation, whereas Lewis Pullman plays Lone Star's son, like call him Lone Star Junior or whatever you want to call him. That would
Could
be
do
pretty
that.
cool because I
Could
think he
do
would
that.
do a fantastic job, Lewis Pullman.
Yeah. Mary White says, was anyone else surprised Mel Brooks is still alive? I was not. I'm well aware he was still around, but yeah, he's up there, man. he's getting up there. Let's see. Mel Brooks' age.
He's like 98 or something, I think.
Yeah, he's well up there. 98 years old in June. Yeah, turning 98. So yeah, he is up there. Still funny as hell, but I would say unfortunately his recent films have not been that great. His recent stuff that he's done. Did you watch any of the History of the World Part 2 that was on Hulu?
You know what? I knew that I would watch it and it would annoy me, and I honestly just didn't watch it.
Yeah. Yeah. It was not great. It was a lot of the sketches were just a total miss. Oh, Argentum says both Pullmans are in the movie.
Oh,
So, yeah.
so maybe it is like I said.
Awesome. Yeah,
That
that's great. I think
that
that's great.
actually is a bit encouraging, not
Yeah.
a lot. Like, my expectations are 0, so I'm hoping that
Yeah,
they
yeah.
don't just seriously disappoint me, because I think that having a Lewis Pullman play like Lone Star Jr. and going on some kind of adventure would probably be awesome if they did it correctly. But somehow I don't know what to tell you. Josh Gad and all that. I don't know how I feel about all of this.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of Josh Gad.
I mean, I don't have anything against him. I just don't like. It's not like a draw for me. You know what I mean? It's not like, wow, it has like Josh Gad in it. I'm
Yeah.
totally like excited.
Let's see. Who all is in this? At least who's been confirmed in the cast so far. Let's see if we can find something. Well, I'm not really. See preliminary cast list. No. Let's see. Lewis Pullman as Starburst. Bill Pullman as Lone Star. Kiki Palmer as Destiny. Mel Brooks as Yogurt. Rick Moranis returning as Dark Helmet. Daphne Zuniga returning as Princess Vespa. And Josh Gad. I wonder if he's going to be taking on the role that John Candy would not be here for. I wonder if he's going to be the Mog.
Yeah, I have a feeling that that's what he's gonna do.
Yeah,
But he's no John Candy.
yeah. Maybe he'll be Mog's son or something.
Maybe that's what they're going with it.
Mogs don't live as long. Mog years. He's and so he's Mog's son. But interesting if true, if they actually have got Rick Moranis back to play Dark Helmet again. Rick Moranis has been out of acting more or less for a decade or more.
Well, I think that what happened is that his wife died of cancer and he wanted to raise his children.
Yes, and he very consciously made his decision to leave acting so that he could focus on being there for his kids. And damn, if I don't respect the hell out of that. I mean, that is someone with their priorities in the right place. To say, you know what, screw Hollywood. I have more important things to do in my life. And I've got money. I don't necessarily need to work. I need to make sure that I'm available to raise my kids. Uh, I'm looking here because I remember he made some kind of statement. Says, I'm a single parent and I just found it was too difficult to manage and raise my kids and do all the traveling involved in making a movie. So I took a break, and the break turned into a longer break. And then I found out I just didn't really miss it. Yeah. And
I respect that.
he declined a cameo in Ghostbusters as well. The 2016 Ghostbusters. Well, thank God. He declined that. He has said he's not actually retired. He's interested in working in the future. Simply needed time to focus on his family. So yeah, gotta respect it.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, and then she passed away of cancer in 1991. So yeah. That would be interesting if he did come back to make to play Dark Helmet again. I wonder what they would do with that. That could be amusing.
Yeah.
Here's my biggest worry. One, two things really. One, that he and the people writing this are not really connected to the Star Wars fandom of today, and don't really understand a lot of what we didn't like about the sequels or the prequels or anything like that,
Right.
to be able to actually effectively make fun of the right things, right? Um, that's frustrating. The other side of it would be if it is being written by Brooks, along with apparently I think Josh Gad is helping with the writing as well. There's no way it's not going to be somewhat woke, right? Josh Gad is a lefty and a pretty committed one.
Yeah, I
So
tend to agree with you.
he at one point said he would not return to his role in Frozen 2. He didn't want to return to his role unless they specifically made uh the central character gay, like literally like, had to give her a girlfriend in the movie. But I guess they paid him enough money to come back, or he didn't have any other work. But yeah,
No, I
I'm
believe you.
not a big fan of Josh Gad personally.
Yeah, that doesn't sound good to me. And honestly, anything I've ever seen him in, I'm not excited about him. I'm sorry, like just that doesn't when I think about John Candy, if he's like trying to replace John Candy, that's really an issue.
Yeah. And Argentum says that Brooks is also pretty liberal. He is. He's fairly liberal in a lot of different ways, but at the same time, like there's a difference between being liberal and necessarily and being woke, right? Or being on the left and having to insert all of this crap into your storyline. Like if you can make a movie that's just not particularly political, I know I'm certain that the guys on South Park, like Trey Parker, I'm certain that they're left leaning guys in a lot of ways, but they take all comers, right? They make fun of everybody. So
I think they're kind of middle of the road people, in my opinion.
they could
The
be
South
more
Park guys.
libertarian or who knows, like maybe there's one of them on one side, one of them on the other, but they do tend to really just make fun of everyone. And if that's going to be the attitude of this movie, or that they just avoid the political angles altogether, great, right? I would like to see an incredibly funny parody of modern Star Wars. I'm concerned that they would not really bring the heat on, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I understand what you mean. Well, we'll have to see how it plays out. I personally think that after so many years, there's really nothing to add to Spaceballs. I feel like it's an all-time classic, and you should just leave it alone. But since they're doing it and they don't care what I think, I can only hope that maybe it won't suck. But my expectations are extremely low.
Mm-hmm.
Istofobo says the South Park guys hate liberals. They've talked about it in interviews. I have
I,
to guess they seem like libertarians or something to me.
yeah, I know that Trey Parker tends to lean more libertarian, but yeah, I would imagine that socially they're fairly left leaning. Um,
Who knows?
let's see, Matt Stone. I hate conservatives, but I really fucking hate liberals. So who knows? Yeah. Sorry, Sean.
I can understand that sometimes you don't like either party. I think they've even had like episodes like the turd sandwich versus the something. I don't remember that. Like you have to do
Yes.
elections.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
turd sandwich versus the.
Yes.
You know what I'm talking about. There was an episode like that, and I think that that's how they feel. So, Yeah.
Yes, it was
Uh,
turd sandwich versus giant douche. Yes.
yeah, exactly. That's what it was. Well, I mean, like I
Yeah.
said, we'll give it a chance. We'll see what happens. I'm not excited, but it is what it is.
No, I'm not excited for it, but I will say I do love Mel Brooks. I think he's just incredible as a humorist. His comedy has been great for decades. I would go see this movie. I will if if it does actually hit theaters, I will be in the theater to see it. My guess is it's going to be a straight to Amazon streaming thing, just like the thing he did with Hulu with History of the World Part Two. But if it's in theaters, I'll be there to see it in theaters. I love Mel Brooks and his comedy. He's made some incredible comedies over the years. Many of which I watch on a regular basis. We watch Young Frankenstein every year at Halloween. It is an absolute classic of a film, and yeah, Spaceballs is incredibly funny too. But yeah, who knows? Yeah, who knows if it's going to be good? Like I said, that doesn't mean just because his last project was bad doesn't mean that this one isn't going to be fun. So yeah.
We can only hope. My expectations are extremely low. I'm coming in here with zero expectations, and I can only hope that they won't destroy the legacy of Spaceballs. But like I said, it's not my choice to make the movie or not. I can only hope for the best. And Istofobo says that Trey Parker and Matt Stone are very middle of the road with Midwest sensibilities. They abhor hypocrisy, which is why their stuff is funny. I can see that. I'm kind of like that too, you know. It's not that like people think that because we talk about politics, I love politicians so much or love all of this. I think it's hard to avoid stuff like that these days. But I kind of miss the time when politics weren't as center stage as they are now in our
Oh
lives.
yeah, you can hardly get anywhere without talking about it these days. So we talk about it,
Right. I mean,
and we talk about other stuff too.
right. No, I mean the thing is that I think that when back in the day, you know, I'm thinking the early times, and I would just sit here with myself and a microphone and talk. I didn't really know. It just seemed like a cool late night stream, but so much happened. There were elections, and things got very political, and it just spills into everything. It's hard today to do a stream and talk about like pop culture and about things that are happening around us, and not at least give some attention to things like that as well, because I think that it's all sort of intertwined and it's hard to ignore. And also I feel like people in our chat were talking to us about this kind of stuff. And if the idea here is that we're sitting at late hours and just kind of talking about our lives and about everything that's going around us, I think it's only fair that we just bring up things that are happening. If we didn't, you know, what we'd ignore it. Like I just it feels natural to me. So
Yeah.
hopefully people enjoy hanging out with us. That's all I can say. Yeah, Andrew Seaton says love Team America. I want to tell you something that Team America was a movie that nobody remembers this. When it came out, it wasn't a big hit. Didn't do well in the theater. And I went to the movie theater to see it. There was barely anybody there. And I saw it and I laughed my ass off. I loved that movie. And there was almost nobody in the theater. And this was like opening night. People were not rushing to see this movie. Most people didn't even understand it. That just goes to show you how a lot of times people don't give things a chance or don't. I knew that this was from the creatives of South Park, and I knew that it was going to be good, or at least interesting enough for me to buy a ticket and go see it. And really, it was a very unique movie. I think that when it comes to the marketing, people are like, "Oh, what are their puppets? It's stupid." I didn't think anything. I'm like, "Don't underestimate these guys." I went to see the movie, and I couldn't believe how good it was. And at the time, I was studying film, and like in a class with some like distinguished like professors or whatever, people were talking about recent movies that they've seen that they liked, and all these people were like, "Oh, The English Patient." I don't know what I'm just gonna. I don't know if that one, but you know what I'm trying to say, like a bunch of bullshit that like I couldn't care less about. And then like without thinking twice, I'm like, I recently saw Team America World Police. It's brilliant. And everybody was like looking at me, all these weird snooty people. And you know what? All their movies are shit. I don't even know what those movies. Sorry, Sean. Those movies they were talking about are. I stand by what I said. I said it was a quality movie, and I think it's one of the best satire movies I've ever seen. Team America.
It really is extremely funny. Yeah. And I think a lot of people were maybe turned off by the marionation approach
Brilliant.
that they
It
made,
was
but it
brilliant.
worked so well.
They put so much work into it. If you
They
later see
did. They
interviews, like
absolutely did.
it was like a movie that they after they made it, they're like, we're never doing anything like this again. And we lost out. We lost out on it because I think that if it would have been successful, it would have encouraged them to sort of step out of their South Park comfort zone. Unfortunately, with Trey and Matt, and we were talking about that show, That's My Bush, I feel like Trey and Matt back in those years had more kind of an appetite to try different things. So they did like That's My Bush, and even though the show was actually doing well in the ratings, they clobbered that at the time. And then like they pulled the plug on it, Comedy Central. And then you had like Team America, which I thought was a brilliant satire, one of the most brilliant satires I've seen. And again, it probably made its money over the years in home video and streaming and things like that. But when it came out to the theater, it was not considered a success.
No, it wasn't at all. Yep. Oh, and Price went nuclear now. He'll be right back. Thank you, Rumble Studio. You're amazing.
Anyhow, I don't know where I got cut off, but I'm saying that it was a
no, you're fine. Yeah.
Team America was brilliant. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
And I guess so. We went over that, and then there was something with Stellar Blade. This I don't know why this annoyed me because I don't even play games like you. I consider myself a retro gamer, former gamer. I don't play a ton of games these days, only really on rare occasions.
Yeah, I don't really play a ton either, but yeah, I mean, I certainly play more than you do. Yeah.
But what I will say is that I do know that I've had like these kind of annoying conversations with Paul Tassi, who once publicly blocked me and made a big stink of it. And then when I like made fun of him and my post talking about how he blocked me got more traffic than his post blocking me, he then unblocked me. It's a really long story,
Yeah.
but
he unblocked you to tell you why he blocked you, and then
right, exactly,
and then
something
blocked
like
you
that.
again.
But now I think I'm not blocked again. I don't know. I can't tell you what I think.
Oh, who knows?
Hold on.
Jiggle Blade. Yes. Yes, it is. I've actually tried Stellar Blade. It is not really the game for me, but I can get why people enjoy it for a few different reasons. It was a fairly fun action title, and it has other assets that are enjoyable to certain people.
What happened is that when let's see if I can share this thing. I don't know why there's a million ads. Forbes is now like an ads thing. So Paul Tassi is the guy from Forbes that he writes articles, and I've had issues with him in the past. So I guess his article today was like 10 things I wish I knew when I started Stellar Blade 2025 PC edition. Now, initially, when Stellar Blade came out and you had all those crappy, Dragon Age and Concord and all that crap that nobody liked, he was, and part of the reason why he blocked me is that I started telling him, like, he was writing these articles, and he always does this. It's like a game fails because it's like it has woke stuff and nobody likes it, and then he writes an article like why it failed. He'll say anything in the world, but he won't say why it really failed. And I don't know what comment I wrote to him that got him really pissed off, that I basically suggested that he's just like, he's either an idiot or he's pretending to be one. I don't remember how I worded it. It was probably more clever than that. But something like I pressed a button that, something he didn't like, and started having a meltdown. Then he blocked me, unblocked me, and all that weird shit. So when Stellar Blade came out, he was one of those people whining about why it's not a good game and it's not this and it's not that and all this other stuff. Now, when it's such a hit, he's trying to reframe the narrative. It's not that he hated it. He wishes he knew all these different things then. He can now help people so they can enjoy the game, because at the beginning he didn't enjoy it, but once he learned, those things to fix, then he could enjoy it. And now you can too. Do you get the weird mental gymnastics here? It's like,
Yeah.
dude, you are. I don't want to say. I don't want to. Sorry, Sean. I'll preempt this with this. I don't want to say a bad word. I'm going to be careful here, but I'm just saying this guy is just such a hypocrite. He's either not smart, or he pretends to not be smart, or somehow a combination of both. And the part that always annoys me, and it annoys me, this guy. It annoys me also. Eric Booger Kane, if you remember, also from there. But basically, Eric Booger Kane is like Paul Tassi. He also, like, he went around, said like, "Oh, I loved like Rings of Power." Then he sees that like everybody hates it, and he wants to launch his own YouTube channel. So he's like, "Oh, like I can't in good conscience say that it's like a good show." It's like, dude, initially when it launched, you were happy to throw everybody in under the bus and make them like istophobes. Same thing with The Last Jedi, and now he's sitting there around there and like pretending like he's some like man of culture. You know what I mean? So the same thing with Paul Tassi. I guess that's their MO. They go around, act like shills, do like what's expected of them, like peddle whatever agenda narrative like they've been doing for years. And then now when they see that the narrative has changed and it didn't work, then they try to like reframe the narrative to suit whatever initial narrative they gave. Do you get what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, they're not admitting that they're just hypocrites and in my opinion, this is my
never
personal
will.
opinion, liars. They're like trying to find a new narrative to explain why they had a different narrative before. And that just annoys me.
Yeah, they're never going to admit that they're hypocrites. Come on. Yeah, it's yeah. I know what you mean.
Yeah, it's like growing up, I had a friend, and he was always kind of stubborn. There would be some band that I'd like. I don't know what I liked. Let's say I liked Alice in Chains or something like that. I don't like Alice in Chains. I don't like Alice in Chains. He'd be sitting there day and night saying how much he doesn't like it. Probably because I said I like it. You know what I mean? And then finally, I don't know what would happen. Maybe he'd listen to it, or he'd see that everybody else starts to like it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Suddenly, 5 more of our friends were all listening to Alice in Chains. We love it. So then he like tries to find a narrative. Like, let's say Alice in Chains had like an album, but now they released a new album. Then the new album comes out, and he's like, you know what? I heard this new album. I didn't like the first one, but man, this second one, that really now they're really making good music. Do you get what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
This is what Paul Tassi and Eric Booger Kane are. That's what they do. They like they're the ones at the beginning, like, standing on some pedestal saying, "Oh, we don't do this, we don't do that," and then at the end, when there's like, "You can't beat them, join them," they'll join them, but they won't even do it in a way that's like respectful. So that's what I think of this guy. Just wanted to share my thoughts with it.
Oh, Paul Tassi.
Yeah. I don't know if I explained. Did I explain the thing well with the Alice in Chains? Did you get what I was trying to say?
Yeah.
Paul Tassi is a window licker. Fine, I can accept that.
Yeah.
He is. Oh, and the thing that annoys me the most is that, like, why are these guys like long-term guys at Forbes? Forbes, it used to mean something. Somebody working for Forbes, that used to be like a big deal. Today, it's like these 2 guys who do not know. Okay, fair enough. I don't play a lot of video games these days, so I'll give Paul Tassi that I could say that he at least tries to play them and then do his bullshit. But Eric Booger Kane does not know better than me how to review shows and movies, okay? He's not better than me. Neither is Scott Mendelson. Like, when it comes to like integrity, reviews, discussing pop culture, reading the map, these 2 guys are, and I'm not saying that I'm the best in the world. I'm saying that those 2 guys are not like, it's as if like I'm playing like in the NBA and they're in like Little League, but somehow they're, and okay, I'm not saying I'm the Michael Jordan of the NBA either, okay? I give me like the team that's in the last place in the NBA if you want, okay? But those guys are not even in the NBA. They're not even on any team.
Yeah.
Yet somehow Forbes like embraces them as though there's they have something to contribute.
They sure do.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
Sure.
yes, just to wrap up with the Stellar Blade. Yeah, it's let's see what exactly
Oh, but
was
the thing is that I will say this, and this is why I wrote Stellar Blade Win, is that
Yeah.
basically the numbers are through the roof now. I think it's on PC now. What is it that happened now that I
So
think
it
that
was originally on PlayStation 5,
right?
and then it also went to PC. And many people have been extremely happy with the PC version of the game. It was an extremely well polished port of the game that they put over on the PC. It's got an extremely high, approval rating. I think it's got like a 92 or above a 92 on Steam. And at this point, I believe the PC version has outsold the PlayStation version. I don't, gosh, I remember seeing the news earlier today, and not coming up with a story about it right now for what exactly the stats were, but it's incredibly well reviewed. It's a very very beloved game, and it's not just because it has the Asian model in it, in some scantily clad scantily clad model, and that you can dress her up in all sorts of different outfits and stuff. Like, it's a particularly enjoyable game. Again, it's not really a style of game that's particularly something that I love, sort of something in the style of a Bayonetta maybe, but I said I tried it out. I could see why people would enjoy it. Not really my bag, but yeah, enjoyable game, very attractive main character, and yeah, initially it did get a lot of attention because yeah, we had all this other extremely woke crap coming out, and then this Korean developer came in and said, "Hey, we're dropping a big-breasted, beautiful main character into our game." And then everyone started getting so angry. Oh, it's distorting people's image of women and whatever, and then not realizing that the whole model was based directly on an actual woman. Like,
Yeah, that was all so dumb. It was
like
all very dumb.
maybe it is idealizing women, but it's an actual woman. It's not Barbie. Right? So, okay, sure, whatever. But yeah, uh, yeah, congrats to small development house, making that game, and it's done extremely well. So, and we want to see more of that because a lot of the AAA gaming has just been a disaster.
I'm
And
hoping with all this AI,
yeah,
maybe it helps some of these people that want to develop games. Maybe it could help them do it faster and with less resources, and maybe give a little more of the power to the people and less of all these kind of, uh, AAA gaming, whatever it is, the woke, whatever they are.
hmm yep. Grums was going after Paul Tassi today too. I saw that when I was
Yeah,
looking
I
through.
actually answered because the thing
Yeah.
is that I actually saw his post and then I was reading like Paul Tassi's article and I understood what Grums was saying about him. I know some people feel one way or another about Grums, but in this case, I 100% agreed with him, and I responded what I thought about to Paul Tassi to his post about Paul Tassi, and that's a guy that I myself have had like issues with, so it definitely like piqued my interest when I saw it, and yeah. I just it always annoys me the kind of that thing of trying to pretend that you didn't like it, but then now reframe the narrative. I don't like that. And the other thing is that the playing stupid, that like, oh, why did this game not do well? Like
Yeah.
those two things, it's like it just annoys me so much. And I guess the worst part is that when I see people that have like built quote unquote legitimate careers from doing nothing of value, uh, it kind of annoys me. At the same time, I think that whole mainstream media thing is gradually just dying more and more. So at some point, this nonsense can't last forever. We saw it with like Kotaku. A lot of these quote unquote like journalists are no longer even active there.
Yeah, yeah.
There,
I know
there's
what
just
you mean. Yeah.
there isn't like a marketplace for this nonsense to happen forever. So I guess it is what it is. Uh, you love old arcade games? Yeah, I actually like arcade games too. Chase HQ. I'm trying to remember. I don't remember that one.
Yeah, Chase HQ was good. That's a lot of fun.
Which one was Chase HQ? Can you remember?
Chase HQ, you had it was a racing sort of a racing game, but you had you were a police officer and you were given a particular car, right? There was like an APB out on a car, and so you had to chase down that particular car.
Ah,
And yeah, I don't remember too. It's been a long time since I've actually played any version of Chase HQ. I don't know if I ever played an arcade version of it, but I did play that on, I believe, the Super Nintendo. I think. Yeah.
I remember that there was Outrun. Do you remember
Oh,
Outrun?
Outrun is a classic racing game. Yeah,
Uh,
Outrun was great.
there was Outrun. There were two things. There was one thing that I'm like on a motorcycle. That's one thing. That like you actually sat on a motorcycle and you were looking at the
Oh yeah,
screen.
yeah. There were some that motorcycle arcade games. There's been a handful of those
Then there
over
was
the
one that
years.
you're in a
Yeah,
red car.
yeah.
Which
That was Outrun. It was the red
okay,
car.
yeah. So that one. Okay. So Outrun, I know which one it is. I'm wondering what was the one called with the bike. Can't remember the name of it. I don't think it was Outrun though. Oh well. Loved those games. Loved it. Like that was magic. I know today there's like stuff that's 100 times better, but as a kid, I just loved that.
I think the earliest one was called Hang On. Is that the one you're thinking
Yes.
of? Yeah.
Yes. Hang on. Hang on. I remember. That was
There's
the
been some
motorcycle
others
one.
since then, but yeah, Hang On was the one that you sat on a bike and
Yes.
you could lean the bike and turn the handlebars to go through.
Initially, I think before Hang On, you had pole position. Pole position was big. Then you had Hang
Oh
On.
yeah.
Then you had Outrun.
Yeah, yeah. Outrun was a Sega game. That was classic. Had a great soundtrack too. Yeah, you would drive that red Ferrari.
Red Ferrari. I loved it. I absolutely
Yeah.
loved it. And in the arcade, you actually sit in like a red car and you do.
Yeah.
It's just great.
My to this day, there is only one arcade game that I wish and want to have in my house. Well, I take that back. There's two. The original sit down Star Wars arcade cabinet.
I
I put
played that before.
so many quarters into that game. Loved that thing. It had the really cool flight yoke that you use. It was very different from all the other controls you had at the time. And that little sit down cabinet was just amazing. I loved that to death. And they used the vector graphics too, which was really unique. And then the 4-player Simpsons arcade game cabinet was just so much fun. I loved that game. There were a number of those multiplayer arcade titles that I loved. The Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles one was
Yes.
huge. I loved
Love the
that one.
Teenage Mutant. Love the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles
The
one.
the TMNT one was great. And then there was an X-Men 6-player that had the dual screens, had 2 screens that were stuck right next to each other. That was amazing. But yeah, the lot of great memories with some of those multiplayer arcade games back in the day. And mentions Gauntlet. Yes, the Gauntlet ones
I
were great
remember that.
too.
I remember
Yeah.
that. I played that. I played
Yeah.
that. I played the Ninja Turtles one. I played the Simpsons one, but not a lot. I haven't played that. I didn't play that one a lot. I had like a Nintendo version of Simpsons, but that wasn't the same, I think, as the arcade game. I think it was
Red
different.
Warrior shot the food.
And
Blue Wizard is about to die.
I'm trying to think what else I liked in the arcade. Oh man.
Oh yeah, I mean there were so many great ones, and I even remember some of the more campy ones that were sort of also rans, but they were really great. like Bad Dudes. Do you remember Bad Dudes?
I think I remember. I also remember Double Dragon.
Oh
That was
yeah, Double
big.
Dragon was a classic. Yeah, so Bad Dudes was more of like sort of the B team version of
Right.
of Double Dragon.
Yeah, I get what you're
Bad-
saying. I get what you're saying. There was also like Shinobi.
oh yeah, yeah,
I remember that.
yeah.
Uh, there were some great
Yep.
games.
I
I
always loved the gun games.
I don't know if it
Those were some
existed.
of my favorites.
I liked some gun games too, but I'm just saying that when we were kids, I can't speak. I don't know what happens to kids today. It was like a big deal to go to the arcade and play video
Oh
games,
yeah,
and I loved it. I absolutely loved that experience. I feel like it doesn't exist in the same way today. I'm sure there's arcade somewhere and you can play something,
yeah.
but the arcade culture was just something else. Like I understand it's great. You can game at home and do whatever, but hanging out in a place with a lot of people and everybody's like playing the arcade games, and even like sometimes there's games where there's like four people. You said with Gauntlet or with the Ninja Turtles, you're suddenly playing with a person you've never met before, but you're
Hmm.
all four of you are like playing together.
Yeah.
Do you get what I'm trying to say? There
Oh
was
yeah, yeah.
something.
And I might, I think I might have told this story here before. I'm sure I told it somewhere, but yeah, one time was on a trip. I think it might have been a school trip or something. But we were at Six Flags over Texas, and we were there on on the weekend, and it was pouring rain, and so there was nothing. You couldn't do any of the rides, anything for hours, and so we ended up getting stuck inside. And then someone said, "Oh, hey, the arcade's just right over there." So we went over to the arcade, and we were trapped inside, nothing to do, nowhere to go. So we were trapped inside, and they had that giant six-player X-Men arcade game, and we sat there and we played just six like two or three people who I knew, and a few other people who joined in. We sat there and we played all the way through the X-Men game. We probably put $70 in quarters into that thing, but we played all six of us all the way through the game.
I believe it. I believe it. I used to do that too. Double R Star said there was an actual machine gun, Big Arnie style shoot 'em up. When you lost, it said sorry, but you are finished here. Galaga is a classic.
I think that was Terminator 2 Judgment Day that he's talking about. It had a huge like mounted machine gun controller for the Terminator 2 Judgment Day game. So shooting games, Lethal Enforcers. Do you remember Lethal Enforcers? It was one of it was sort of an early one that had all the characters were not drawn; they were like pictures of people.
Ah,
Like you had the gun and you would shoot, and then of course a Time Crisis, which again that's another one. If I could have a Time Crisis 2 cabinet at home, oh my god, I would play that nonstop. That game was so
by
much
the way,
fun.
Contra. I'm trying to think. Contra. I played that on Nintendo. Was that a?
Yeah, I
I
don't
guess
know.
maybe it was also in the arcade. There was
I
an
think there
arcade
probably
version
was
for
an
sure.
arcade. I think there probably was an arcade version of
Dig
that.
Dug. I played in the arcade. Renegade.
Yeah,
Remind me what Renegade is. That sounds super familiar.
Renegade.
I know I played it, but I can't get an image in my mind what it is.
Um,
Double Bubble, yeah. Bubble wasn't there
oh,
Bubble Bobble or something?
Bubble Bobble. Yeah, yes, yeah.
Paperboy, I certainly played that. There was also,
Yeah, Renegade was just a side scrolling, beat 'em up kind of thing. Yeah, Final Fight kind of style game, if I
there's
remember.
nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, Final Fight was another real classic. Yeah, oh man, I talk about all these other games, and then I probably did not put. I'd probably spent more quarters in Street Fighter 2 than I did in anything else. That, and then when Street Fighter versus X-Men came out, there was a cabinet in a gas station nearby, and we played the hell out of that game. X-Men versus Street Fighter. So classic. Oh, Anthem 21X mentioned Sunset Riders. Yes, and that's a great side-scrolling beat 'em up, run and gun type game, sort of like Contra, but with a Western theme. So much fun. I love that one. Yeah, Sunset Riders is a classic. Yep.
Yeah, definitely. I think that whoever today grows up, they miss so much cool stuff that we were able to do. It's not even like one like I'm just saying this as like like, oh, you're an old fart or whatever it is. I'm saying like there was some kind of human interaction that these younger generations don't get, and they're not better for it. The fact that I used to meet people in an arcade and well, a bunch of us we'd be playing a game, and you're making friends and you're going out to places, and you're going out to concerts and or shows, and you're listening to music, and there was just a social thing. It didn't start and end with you sitting around and just DMing people. Now today I DM a lot of people, and maybe that's that has to do with my lifestyle today, but at least my character was built and personality at a time that I had real interactions with people, more personal interactions, and I think that that builds the character. So if all this technology was introduced, I don't feel like I'm different. I don't feel like it compromised my personality. Whereas these younger kids, I don't know what they do.
Yep.
But it is what it is. Certainly, the arcade culture, it's not what it was, and it's unfortunate. But times change, things change, and the world changes with it. And what are we gonna do?
Yep. Well,
But
I think we should say hello to our friends in the chat and
I think
call it
that
a
that's a
night.
good idea. We can
Yeah.
start saying goodbye to people.
Yeah. Let's see. We've got over on Rumble, Bingo Hazmet, Bigot on Socialist Media, Rayalt, Kivo 1961, Deeple 101, Dude Bro, Seth 420, Istphobos, Double R Star, and One Dirty Bird, all joining us over there. And then over on YouTube, see here, we had Tom, Midnight's Edge After Dark, stopped in for a bit. Andrew Seaton, Tim Hayes, Adam Gray out there modding for us. Jeremiah Hembry, Argentum, Istphobos again, DJ Playnice, Mo Zamboni stopped by, Mary White, Caleb Levine, Yitis, Stephen Mack, Jonathan Conroy, Granola Grin, Phantom Outsider, Daniel Morris, FKHC 2005, Zune RJ5, Marks 47, Marla Sharondoff, The Dead Man, Deeple 101, also joining us on YouTube, Sean Green, Keely Chow, Darren M, Cannoli Sasquatch, and Anthem 21X. So if we missed anybody, I'm sorry. Hope we'll get you next time. And hey, if you were hanging out with us here and watching me on a black screen, apparently, not sure what that's about, then we appreciate you being here.
Absolutely. And why are you on a black screen?
I don't know.
Okay.
And since we're about done, I'm not going to bother backing out.
No, it's okay. This is the best.
Yep.
So, is there still something we have to do? Any kind
No,
of order
I think
of business?
we got to everybody. So,
Got to everybody. Again, thank you guys for hanging out with us. Thank you for anybody who gave super chats and rumble rants. And as we always say, if you're on YouTube and you're listening to this, we're getting close to a very nice number that we had, like a goal of ours, if we could get to that, and we're very close to it. So if you haven't subscribed on YouTube yet, you should definitely do that. Even if you're subscribed to the main review channel, this one is the live stream channel, so you should definitely do that. And if you're on Rumble, which is a great platform for free speech and sort of our headquarters for these type of shows, if you're there and you haven't signed up for the platform yet, you should definitely sign up, and then you should follow us. And for less than a cup of coffee a day, we can give you sandwiches. Anyhow, I get now the professor has disappeared altogether, so I guess it's just me here. And at this point, I will wish you all a great evening, day, whatever time zone you're in. And today is Thursday. This is the Night Owl on Price of Reason. That was my co-host, Professor R2, who vanished. And we're going to be here, of course, on Tuesday, like we are every Tuesday and Thursday at 11:45 p.m. Eastern for the Night Owl. And we'll see you there. Bye.